Ladies and gentlemen, here he is. Woo! The sensation, Jason Gavon!
Danmark har fået en ny verdensmester. Mikkel Kessler. He's the fucking champion of the world. Mikkel, mand.
To the 131st edition of the Nuthouse podcast, brought to you by boxingsalum.com. I'm your host, Andy Patterson. With me today I've got Alex Morris, Adam Smith, Kurt Ward, Paul Webb, and the biannual appearance of the big boss man, Tommy Allen. No lot of fights on this week, guys, and we had hoped for a semi-quiet week, but it hasn't turned out that way. A couple of dodgy refereeing decisions over the course of the last two nights has seen us kind of Twitter explode. Tim Bradley dominated Jesse Vargas last night with scorecards of 117, 111, 116, 112 and 115, 112. But controversy in the last round, Tim Bradley badly hurt in the 12th. I think it was about maybe 20 seconds to go. And then with about 10, 12 seconds left, the fight, the referee, Pat Russell, who, I don't know, must have been suffering from tinnitus or something like that, somehow managed to fuck up the end of the fight as he managed to confuse the wooden clapper for a metal bell to end the fight. Now, if you just go back and have a look at the 10th and 11th round, you'll actually hear the wooden clapper for the 10-second warning. You'll actually see Pat Russell actually acknowledge it. You actually hear the fighters to say 10 seconds to go, and then in the 12th round, it makes a complete and utter Errol Hunt of it. Now, naturally, you were pretty mystified, actually. I thought, very briefly, I thought that Bradley had been stopped, but thankfully he didn't. He started off very quick last night, worked the body very well, and beat Vargas with a jab, and he's all-round out-hustled Vargas, who he even showed better combinations. Okay, he was hurt in the 12th round, but this is Tim Bradley we're talking about here. He was never in any danger of getting stopped there last night. And it's just a wee bit shame now, Kurt, that 12th round mishap from Pat Russell is now getting the ball rolling now, basically get a rematch made, and there is absolutely no need for one, is there?
Absolutely none at all. I mean, Bradley bossed the fight. I've said it before, I think we've got a question about it as well. He doesn't seem to know which style is best for him. He fights like he's a puncher and he just doesn't have much power at all, but through his physical strength and his will to win and drive, he bullies a lot of the opponents that he faces. You know, for a non-puncher, that's pretty incredible, I think. And, you know, he's been getting a lot of fans on his side recently, I think, especially like fans on the internet and stuff who, you know, would look upon him as like a bit of a boring fighter before, but through his performances over the last few years, you know, and his heart, especially in like Provodnikov fight, you know, he's shown that he'll do anything to win, and he'll put it all on the line for the win, and no matter if he can't punch or not, he's going to go to war. And, you know, he got caught at the end of the round after bossing the whole fight. I think Vargas maybe deserved 2 rounds at the most, and there was about 9 seconds left, I believe, when the ref made the idiotic mistake, but Bradley wasn't going to get stopped, and I hope we don't see a rematch. But the only problem with him is being with Bob Arum, there's not a lot of fighters you can see him going in with next, and Bradley might look at it as, another payday, $1.5 million payday against someone he knows he can beat, just to see if he can hopefully get a fight with someone else. There's just so few options for him. I mean, if you just think of the fights that could be made if there was no politics, Amir Khan, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Marcus Maidana, fights like that we're just not probably going to get to see him in with. It's such a shame because he's a guy that will, put it all on the line against everyone.
Tommy, mate, welcome back to the show for the first time. How was it? 2 years now, mate?
It's been a while, mate. Yep.
How did you find it? How did you score it last night? I think I had it 118, 110 to Bradley, but I was watching some of the scores on Twitter last night. Scores were all over the place. Even after 7 rounds, one idiot actually had it Bradley up by a point.
Yeah.
Can you see it being that close after 7 rounds?
Nah, no danger.
He dominated.
Bradley did dominate the fight. He was just a lot more experienced than that. Vargas has had a lot of stick in that over the years. I don't think he's actually a bad fighter, but there was only one winner in that fight. I think I gave Vargas maybe 3 rounds. You could argue 2 or 3 rounds that he definitely won, but there was only one winner of that fight. Bradley bossed him. He was just quicker, as a better boxer. He took the fight to Vargas at times. It was just there was only one winner of the fight. I thought the judges' scorecards were a bit crap as well.
Yeah, a bit close.
Obviously, they were. There's a lot of people obviously screaming rematch in that now as well, just because of what happened in the last round. But see, to be honest, I think he was buzzed to start it, but I don't think he was. I've seen Tim Bradley hurt a lot worse than that in the past, and I didn't think there was any danger of him being stopped in the last 10 seconds or so.
Never.
I think he's a smart fighter as well. I think if Bradley seriously hurt, he's going to take a knee, isn't he? I don't think he was in any real danger of being stopped in that fight. I think it's move on. I just touching on what Kurt says about fights and that Tim Bradley could have. I'd like to see him in against Terence Crawford. That's a good fight who made it top rank.
That'd be a good fight, but I don't know if Crawford will go up to 147.
147 for it, yeah.
Straight away, I think I'll maybe wait at 140 for another year. Paul, I mean, you heard Tommy say, I said at the start of the show as well, there was no danger Bradley was getting stopped there last night. In fact, if anyone was getting stopped in the way that fight was transpiring last night was Jesse Vargas looked like the one who could have got stopped. I mean, he was very hesitant with his punches around at the 5th and 6th round. He just could not cope with the pressure, non-stop intensity of Tim Bradley.
I think Vargas struggled with the level. I think, like I said, he was his first elite fighter he'd really been in with, and I think he struggled with the variety of the shots that Bradley put together. And I think it's a shame that Bradley has this kind of aura of being a dull fighter. I think he's in exciting fights, and his style, when he's in against this kind of opponent, is good to watch. And like I say, and a lot of people were comparing, I saw it last night, to obviously the Chavez-Martinez situation when Chavez had him hurt late, and what could have happened if that had gone on further. But fighters get put down in the last round. I don't think there's any real call for a rematch. Just like yourselves, I had it quite wide. I think I had it 118, 110 or 118, 111.
What about Porter against Conor last week? Sorry, mate, to jump in there. I mean, I don't see people shouting for a rematch between Porter and Conor after Porter got dropped in the last round. And that was another dominating performance.
No, and like I said, it was only because obviously of the referee's error that, it became bigger than what it was. I mean, I agree with Tim Bradley said in the interview afterwards, he said there was no danger that he wasn't going to get through those final few seconds, and I tend to agree with him. He does have quite good powers of recovery, but he is showing that he can get hurt. And if there's a lot of good fights out there for him, and he's still, like I say, in the terms of the welterweight rankings, he's still right up there. But if you're like one of those names listed, there's a lot of fighters that will see the Bradley fight as very winnable. So I think there'll be a lot of fighters who want to go that route. But I was impressed with him. I just think it's a shame that the fight will be marred by that stupid, ridiculous last 30 seconds. Which we have to talk about because I can't recall ever seeing a ref stop a fight because he thought the bell had gone for the clapper. I mean, I can't ever remember that happening.
Well, this is the ideal opportunity to talk about it. Now we'll bring in Alex. Alex, now, I think it's pretty much clear as to, if you hear 2 blocks of wood getting chopped together and the sound of a metal gong getting rung, I think you could tell the difference quite clearly. I mean, this Pat Russell, I mean, he's got form. I think he stopped Alvarado Rios first fight too soon. Did they not ask Bernard Hopkins if he wanted to go on? I think Hopkins said yep against Chad Dawson and stopped the fight anyway. the guy must be, 70 years old. It's about time these guys, like they do in the UK, have got a retirement fucking age, set age that you go to retire, because that guy clearly must be past his best.
Yeah, basically, what was I going to say? Russell's just
he's a doddery old man, and he should be put out to pasture.
Essentially, yeah, he's a doddery old man, and that's all he is. It's nothing beyond that. I don't think it's corruption. I don't think that he's trying to save Tim Bradley here. Because Tim Bradley, as we know, he's taken the best that fucking Ruslan Provodnikov's thrown at him. He's taken some of the best that Manny Pacquiao's taken at him. And, he's barely budged. I mean, yeah, he got fucking concussed and fucked up by Provodnikov, but he still didn't go down. He's too brave for his own good. It's interesting, a point I noted on Twitter at the time was that he's done this like complete 180 of a fight. I mean, a couple of years ago you dreaded watching a Tim Bradley fight because fucking hell, Tim Bradley, he's just going to headbutt, he's just going to clinch, he's just one of those boring fighters. Now he's just always controversial, judging by his recent fights, and he's always exciting. He was throwing fucking bombs last night, and he doesn't have that much power, but he was still fucking going for it. And it's it's very commendable that he's trying to have this more fan-friendly approach, but you've got to worry what it's doing to his health at sometimes. I mean, and with certain incompetent referees around, you don't know what's going to happen to him, unfortunately. But the likes of Russell and the likes of, we're going to be talking about him later, Ian John Lewis and various others, if you're too old, too fat, or simply too fucking thick to do your job, you shouldn't be doing your job.
Simple as that, as Tony Bellew would say, anyway. Adam, just off the back of that, and the thing is, it was a great performance I felt from Tim Bradley last night. He was, as I says, he was right in the pocket. Whenever he was inside, letting the hands go, better combination punching, better jabs, all round better ability. Just basically showed us as to why he's on the elite level, and Vargas is some sort of kind of gatekeeper type fighter. But at the end of the day, as well as that that ending last night, it's kind of lame because it actually takes the credit, or the full credit, that Bradley deserved last night.
Yeah, we'll take the credit from him. I think that's the best we've seen Bradley for a while. I think he did start to coast though a little bit after 8 or 9. I think he started to slow down, thought he had it in the bag, and we all know that that's a bad idea. But on the ref, I think that it was, like you said, he was acknowledging the 10-second clap in most rounds actually, and I noted that he gets very close in the last 5 or 6 seconds of the round, ready to jump in and say, stop for the end of the round. But he's in danger, especially with fighters like Bradley, who can be, rather wild and get in rather wild fights. The ref's in danger of copying one himself. But he just lost it. He just lost it at the end. I don't think would have seen Bradley stop. But I mean, how the hell he managed to stay up from that right hand, I do not know. That was a perfectly thrown and landed right hand, and he managed to stay on his feet. It was mad, really. But I think it was. I watched the HBO telecast. I thought it was covered quite well on there. I think the Bradley's going to be just unfortunate that he's in the wrong team, really, and that, we can't. If he was, if there wasn't this divide, he would be right in, probably near the top of the mix for the Mayweather fight. Which people across the divide are falling over themselves to get into that position. He's a bit unlucky being on the wrong end of controversy a few times, but I think the rematch actually will happen just through lack of options, and I think that Bradley will come out and do the same again, but Vargas will definitely know he needs to do something different this time. He wasn't throwing enough combinations, to be honest, and Bradley was controlling throughout. Strange that they've Eric Morales. I think that's who Vargas was working with. He's only been with him a month, so maybe that might
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Morales is only in the infancy.
Paid him in steak bakes, apparently.
But maybe that will bring further improvement if they were to go for an immediate rematch. I think he was strangely with Roy Jones before that. But yeah, it's not. I'm starting to enjoy Bradley fights, and I think the rematch probably will happen, and I wouldn't mind watching it, to be honest. We've had rematches before on less controversy, so although it wasn't quite close enough on the scorecards, maybe Vargas can bring a different game plan to the rematch, and it'll be a better contest as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, you heard Bradley say after the fight that he would give him a rematch. I was like, oh, my heart actually sank. There's absolutely no need for a rematch. And interesting enough, even though he's been quoted as saying it in the press during the week, no mention, Tommy, after the fight about fighting Golovkin. Must have a death wish.
I think he's just trying to put his name out there, isn't he? He's mentioning Klitschko as well just now. He says, I could go 6 rounds with Klitschko, I just need to avoid his right hand. That's not a fight that's going to happen, is it? I think Bradley's got balls. He probably would fight Golovkin, but it's just not a fight.
If he is serious about going up the middleweight, I want to see if he's going to do it. Then I'd want to see him up at 154 first against a kind of big size 154 pound fighter. So you're talking about a guy like Andrade or something like that who's disappeared.
Definitely. Well, there was talk last year maybe facing Cotto at 160. I wasn't sure about that either myself, but he's quite a big guy, Bradley. He's not tall, but he carries a lot of weight between fights. It's no fat either. He still looks in shape, so he's definitely a big dude. So you could fight up at that weight. No against maybe the big middleweights, but Golovkin really isn't a big middleweight, isn't he? He's probably somebody who could make 154 pounds.
Yeah.
Himself,
I just think we all liked him. We don't want to see him go up and face Golovkin. Adrian Broner, on the other hand, now he can go up and face Golovkin, and then Kovalev, and then Vlad.
And Marco Huck and Lebedev and all those guys. I mean, Bradley is probably one of those fighters that's actually getting more respect as his career went on and stuff. Some people were writing him off, and I know Vargas probably isn't the best fighter that kind of judge as to where Bradley's at just now, but obviously the Mayweather fight's never going to happen. So you're looking at, do you think if this Rios Brook fight gets made, maybe see that fight happening down the line?
Well, Bradley Brook
or if Rios pulls it off as well.
I think Rios would just get fucked up by Bradley. He's going to get fucked up by Brook as well, I think. I think that 147 really isn't his weight, and he can't bully people around, and someone as strong as Bradley would certainly fuck him up, and I imagine Brook will have his way with him as well. Brook v Bradley would obviously be a great fight. Brook turned that fight down a few years ago. He shat it from that fight, but now you could argue it's a more competitive fight, considering the Bradley's coming off of I wouldn't say a bad performance, but a weaker performance against Diego Chavez, where he got that undeserved draw. Obviously, the Manny loss as well. Bradley seems to, despite winning and still despite looking good, the controversy really puts this dampener on him, and it almost seems like he's going down in people's estimation. So I think that Bradley Brook would definitely be a good fight. It just it depends if Hearn can get him over here and fork out the 7 figures that Bradley would almost demand.
Wembley,
yeah.
80,000.
Wembley, 80,000, of course.
Carol Froch, league commentator. Fuck's sake. On the undercard, I only kind of fleetingly kept an interest in this fight. Oscar Valdez had a 10-round decision victory over at Ruben Tamayo. Now, Valdez, guys, from what I've seen of him, I don't rate his prospects. I think he's probably at his peak. I just can't see where he's going to get over the apex, I don't think, guys. Don't know if anybody else watched it in any great detail, maybe wants to chime in here.
I've not even watched it yet. I'll watch it maybe later on, but no, I've not seen it.
Good stuff. Then, that being the case, we'll just jump on to Friday night's card, and I'll go to you first, Alex. I don't know what fight you were mostly excited about. We're going to say decent fights, okay fights, pish fights, poor fights. I don't know what Alex is going to say here. Rocky Fielding stopped Brian Vera in 2 rounds. Bit of a dodgy refereeing decision there again. I don't know why Ian John Lewis didn't call the first knockdown.
I was just going to say, who ref that fight? Dodgy decision.
Ian John Lewis and dodgy refereeing performance. No, you're a mistake.
Can I ask you, mate, what you mentioned something on Twitter after that fight, there's apparently in front of the board. What's the story here?
Yeah, he was regulation 25, which is misconduct. He was up before the board June the 11th, I believe, and he was fined, and he's apparently he's being monitored, so if they were watching on Friday night, I think he could be in a bit of trouble again, to be honest.
Apparently that means he was, I can't remember which show it was, I think it might have been the O2 show. He was late for the show. He arrived late and he missed a fight that he was supposed to be refereeing. Despite, it's quite ironic that he gets a bollocking for a performance he actually didn't do, rather than, a fucking
He was fucking late again last night, wasn't he, with that fucking knock?
He was late. Usually he's fucking about 20 seconds earlier, no?
See the thing with John Lewis. I think his confidence is shot. He's getting abuse from everywhere, isn't he, on Twitter and that?
Yeah, he followed me on Twitter. He started following me on Twitter, and I ended up having to fucking tweet him back. Say, listen, unfollow me, you cunt, before I block you.
I think the guy's confidence is short. He's just not sure what he's going to. He's not sure what he's going to do in there, is he?
Well, it was dangerous last night, wasn't it? I mean, the fact that Brian Vera went down on one knee, and he couldn't get in there in time to stop fucking Rocky Fielding from punching the cunt in the face some more. And even after that, he just let him keep punching the cunt in the face after he properly dropped him. It's fucking embarrassing. And Vera, who seems to be a shot fighter at this point, he could have been really seriously fucking hurt because Rocky was just landing constant bombs on him, and Ian John Lewis once again fucked it up.
Someone took a screenshot of the of Vera when he was on the floor, and Ian John Lewis is over the other side of the ring. I mean, I actually feel sorry for both fighters because Vera, like you say, could have been seriously hurt, and Fielding, I thought, put in a really good performance, but he was robbed of a proper finish, in my opinion, because Ian John Lewis should have been there and broke him up as soon as Vera was on the floor, and he was just nowhere near it.
Well, you were going to say something there, mate. It sounded like you were going to say something. Paul,
no, it was very similar to that. It was just that that it took the opportunity away from both fighters, and it's similar to the Bradley Vargas situation. Vargas deserved the chance to try and finish him off, and Bradley deserved to not have it be a controversial win. Same with this. Fielding looked really good. Probably was about to finish him off, but Ian John Lewis, like I say, being 6 or 7 steps away, it's just not good enough. And that's the thing. When I was learning to drive, my dad said when you pull out at a junction, you either go or you stay. You don't go in between. And that's what Ian John Lewis does. He jumps in. He doesn't make a decision one way or the other. Sort of jumps in, looks at it, realises, oh shit, I've done something wrong, but I've already decided now. I can't go back. And it's painful to watch. And I feel like I said, it's not an easy job being a referee. But one thing I think does need commending, what I was going to say, was we gave Paul Smith an absolute load of shit last week, deservedly so.
Yep.
He was the only one out of that Muppet Sky team to actually say for what it was, that it was shocking refereeing.
Terrible.
No one else did. Johnny Nelson, who, I mean, this we talk about a former world champion, looked at that situation and was like, great stoppage, Rocky, no problem with that. Referee was fine. I mean, it says a lot when you rely on Paul Smith to put some fucking common sense to the situation.
I'm fucking sick of Johnny Nelson. Just that comment alone really wound me up. He's just a fucking knobhead, and I can't wait for him to be gone. Hopefully he is gone soon.
Adam, you were going to speak before Paul there, mate.
Yeah, well, Vera went down.
Retired now as well.
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, I said last week I thought he was a shot fighter, and I mean you could get 13-8 on the Rocky Fielding KO, so I lapped a bit of that up. But I mean, Vera went down, and Rocky Fielding actually uppercutted him back to his feet, and then he did, and then he threw that left hook, and then obviously that's where the fight was over. I mean, it did happen really quickly, but yeah, it was. I mean, I have seen worse from Ian John Lewis, but it's another unfortunate incident. He was too far away, and it did happen pretty quick, and then obviously it was too late. But again, the stoppage again. Why are you getting in the middle? And I mean, I'm surprised someone hasn't mocked up a picture. I've been seeing all these Jurassic Park mock-ups this week with people putting their hands out in front of dinosaurs. That's what it's like. He was in the middle, and he was hands held up wide again, waiting for something to happen. And like Paul says, you've either got to do it or not frigging do it. And we're seeing it too often. It's just an anticlimax. Even if it's a legit stoppage, it's an anticlimax. It's just visually not satisfactory. And I mean, it was the best we've seen Rocky. I know he's had issues with the weight, but I was confident that he got it right for this. And this was the kind of fight he needed. Although we all knew that Vera was over the top, he was probably still the best that Rocky's faced. I was looking through Rocky's record, and a lot of people thought he was up against Noe Gonzalez, and he put in a decent performance there. So when he is supposedly up against it, Rocky, he comes to the fore and he puts the performance in that he needs. I still don't know why they're keeping him and Callum Smith away. That really is annoying me, to be honest. There's not enough room in this country alone for them all to have belts. Never mind on the world scene. So, trying to steer the likes of Callum Smith and Rocky Fielding into a world title before coming for these domestic showdowns, I don't think it's good enough. I think that if they can get some sort of eliminator going, which Mr. Hearn is famous for, then fair dues, I'll take that. But I don't want to be waiting another 18 months to see them two fight. It should be happening. It should be happening now, to be honest.
Wasn't that undercard Martin Murray beat it was a Georgian bricklayer he beat or something in 2 rounds? I think it was a left hook to the body. The least said about it, the better. But the main thing is he's back, and how do we know that he's back? Because he told us that he's back. Tony Bomber Bellew, or non-bombs away Bellew, sorry, defeated his I think he was a Croatian opponent, Ivica Bakarun or something like that. What probably made this fight more decent than expected was the fact is that his opponent actually was in training for a fight, and then they got the call at late notice. Now, Bellew's blaming mongrels for his performance, bringing home so many diseases and germs, etc. from the school. I don't know what school he go to, but...
he's got no excuses, though.
Yeah, well, we'll leave that a bit for Bellew the week, actually, because I think that appropriately deserves a spot there. You make excuses. He says you're not going to make excuses, then proceeds to tell the whole world as to what happened, But, Alex, give me your take on Bellew's performance, mate, and try and be as professional as possible with your critique.
It was wank. I mean, it was a typical Bellew performance, if I'm honest. I mean, he says he's ill, or he picked up some sort of illness and he didn't train enough and he didn't really get up for the fight, but you can't really tell a difference between that fight and his performance against Cleverly. I mean, I'd argue he threw more punches in that fight than he did against Cleverly. It's, I'm sick of watching him. I'm sick of his bullshit talk. I'm sick of him hyping up himself, saying that he's fucking got power. He's going to bang out all the fucking world champions. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. And then he does nothing. He does absolutely nothing in the ring. We said it last week. My favourite fight of his, probably the Stevenson fight, because he got fucking obliterated. I can't handle him anymore. It's the constant shit. I think that he's a bit self-aware of how much shit he talks, but he just doesn't back it up. And it's so boring. I mean, he was just happy to be on the back foot that entire fight for the whole 10 rounds, back foot flicking out a jab here and there, just happily boxing away, trying to get the rounds. Yeah, maybe he needed the rounds, but 7 months out wasn't that long, time to be out and to be demanding, a fight as ridiculously easy as this. He's supposed to be fighting for a world title next, and he performs like that against utter shit, and he's just a wanker.
As Kurt says, mate, he couldn't bang out a wank.
It was absolutely right.
Did you watch that shit fest, mate?
It's Tony Bellew, of course. I always watch him. He was just typical Bellew. He makes every opponent look like Pernell Whitaker. I mean, I said it off air. Cleverly laid on the rope for 6 rounds. All he had to do was simply duck, because Tony just loads up, telegraphs right hand over and over again. I mean, I just don't see any improvement in him. He talks about it being exciting and how he can knock anyone out, but he just seems very, very lazy. And on that Friday, I just don't think he seemed very conditioned very well. He looked tired, I think, and the guy was just ducking constantly because he knew the right hand was coming. That's all he did. It dragged on for far too long. I think if he put his punches together, he could have got rid of the guy who at one point just looked like he was looking for a way out. But because Tony just didn't put his foot on the gas at all, the guy just, thought, I could have a go, and you never know, I could land something big on him. It's just, I said before when he moved up, some people were saying, it's a great chance for him to move up and win a title because of guys like Stevenson and Kovalev. And I just 100% disagreed. I think the cruiserweight is harder because, in all these weights, you might have 4 champions and you get a couple of good ones and you get 2, paper champions. These guys are all legit guys, and I don't see how he can beat any of them.
Contenders, mate. So the other contenders and guys waiting for title shots, these are all legit guys as well. If Kel McLaughlin was here, he'd be saying that Bellew does not hang with either of them, or any of them, actually, even any of the top 10 guys he struggled with.
I honestly turned off on Friday night. I had Bellew on for about 4 rounds. What round did he score a knockdown? Was it 2? He scored a knockdown with the left hook, and then he failed to follow that up. This walking off and admiring his work is horrible to watch. To be honest, is thinking he's being cute. Oh, I've made you miss, and I've just popped you with a right hand, and then walking around admiring.
He didn't want to gas, though. He didn't want to gas. He wanted to preserve that power and not his stamina for doing the stretch.
Well, after admitting last week that I turned the volume off when watching Paul Smith, this week I turned the whole fight off and I turned back over and I watched the rugby league on the other channel. It's so boring, and boring yet predictable. The commentators trying trying to build him up. And I know that it's no biggie and it happens all the time in 8 and 10 rounders, blah, blah, blah. But he came over the cruiserweight limit on Thursday. Now...
That was because of the mongrels, though, mate.
Well, yeah, but it's a load of shit. Well, yeah, but he would... I didn't watch the end of the fight, but would he have been better off just not making the excuses? Probably yes. He won the fight. Don't need to make excuses. But
this is Tony. That's Bellew for you, isn't it? He's better off not opening his mouth at all, but he will.
But then he's missed this weight, and Kurt disagrees with me. But it's good practice after he's been at the gym or at the ring for quite a while. He's potentially fighting a world champion next. I think it would be good practice for him to make the weight. And let's remember, he ain't moving up 6 or 8 pounds like Martin Murray. He's moved up. But how much is it? Is it 25 pounds? Something ridiculous. And he's and he still can't get down to 200. It's embarrassing, to be honest. And I've got to the stage now with Tony Bellew where I wouldn't say I look forward to, but I enjoy his interviews more than I do his fights. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, he apparently cuts £10 nice and easy. He probably actually lost a £10 note rather than £10 or anything. But I think they're going to be waiting, as I say, for the Ramirez Hernandez winner. Now, to be honest, I don't think whoever wins that fight, I still don't think it's a clear-cut victory for Bellew. Clearly on the path of least resistance here to try and get himself a title shot. Lebedev, Kudryashov, Drodzda, Huck, probably even I would probably say shot or past his prime now. Diablo would still handle him pretty. We think about Diablo, Tommy. I think he would still beat Bomber Bellew.
Probably. So, the same with Fear Aslan. He's getting on a bit of
he must be 45 or something.
Yeah, still ranked in the top 6 as well.
Aye. So I think who else?
Yeah, I really hope he fights Hernandez. Hernandez, I like him. He's really accurate and he's a good puncher. He's quick. I really hope that fight comes.
Junior Machuno.
Absolutely fucking destroyed.
Who was the guy that knocked out Machuno again? Was it Makabu?
Makabu.
Yeah, get him in with him or Kudryashov. I mean, Kudryashov looked like shit in his last fight, didn't he? So you're kind of saying to yourself, well, if he looks like shit, Bellew, for all his faults and that, is a pretty enough decent boxer. He can move about the ring. Alright, he admires his work, but he can still box himself, I would imagine, to a comfortable decision.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Alex? You buying that at all, mate, or do you think Kudryashov absolutely erases him?
He absolutely fucks him up. Absolutely just decapitates him, and he'll be fucking brilliant.
That's non-biased, of course.
It's my professional opinion.
I think because a lot of the contenders that we've just run through there, because they've got Russian and Ukrainian sounding names, and they're not, well known to a lot of the Sky Sports viewers, they'll get away with just putting him in with Dross again. Maybe one more Dross fight, and then chuck him in with Hernandez, who seems to be the chosen opponent.
Main event, Callum Smith went 12 rounds with Christopher Rebrassi. I forget the scores just now. I think it was pretty wide in the scorecards. Not many people were actually impressed last night with Callum Smith. Paul, were you in any sort of way bothered by the fact is that Smith was catching a lot of right hands there last night, and if Rebrassi had been a puncher, that could have been a different result all round.
And he did take a lot of shots, but I think it was because the fact that Rebrassi wasn't a puncher that Smith felt comfortable that he was willing to take the shots to give them back. I don't think he'd probably be as reckless against someone who did hit a lot harder than him. I think he did well, but I think he's still very much in the learning stage. There were bits of the fight where he was thrown to the body, and you could hear, because Sky had stupidly left Paul Smith mic'd up, but you could hear Paul Smith shouting to the head. And it's almost as if his instinct wasn't to mix his shots up well. But I think he did well. I mean, he didn't win. The 120-107 scorecard was a joke. He didn't win every single round. But he boxed nicely. I mean, Rebrassi it was a bit weird because obviously when Groves fought Rebrassi, he got a lot of criticism for his performance. And Callum Smith basically did a very similar thing and was highly praised for it. I like Smith, but he's not ready yet. And I think Hearn was quite honest in the post-fight interview where he said he is 12 months away from a world title shot because, I think he's got a lot. I think that's what he said, and I think he has got a lot to work on. I wouldn't put him in with George Groves right now, which is the fight they are 100% going for.
His defence was showing up as lacking there last night, and it seems to be a trait actually with some of the Gallagher fighters.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the way their style, they don't all have a very similar style of fighting, but they all seem quite open when coming forward, and I think that Callum wasn't really given an opportunity or a need to box in a different way, because, like I said, he was winning every round comfortably. And like I say, I mean, it's not so often that Callum does the distance. A lot of his fights end very quickly, and I think it was the right fight for him. I think it was actually quite good matchmaking, unlike the rest of the show, which was abysmal. I thought that was quite good, and I think that the natural fight to make, very much like George Groves did with Groves when he fought to Gale, is Smith and Fielding. It's the obvious fight to happen, and because it's so obvious and because it makes so much sense, there's no chance it will happen.
I enjoyed watching it, and I think it was good matchmaking, but I think we're seeing a clear example, probably the clearest we've seen in recent times, of a prospect that Callum Smith's power will not carry to world class. We saw last night it didn't carry to European class. We saw against Chez Locker as well, and even when they were speaking in the interviews, Callum and Mr. Gallagher were both, almost resigned to go in the full 12 as it were, and kept speaking about it a lot. And I know he downed him, but he was going for that shot all night, that left hook to the body, and he started quite early with it and continued. So it was just a matter of time before Rebras was going to stop a serious punch down there. Although he does block quite well to head and body, Rebras, but he had a real go, and another learning fight for Callum. But yeah, he's I don't think he's nowhere near ready, and I would be concerned that his power isn't carrying. And as we've said, he ate quite a few right hands.
I think there's a lot that he can learn, and I think that he is developing. But I think that once again, a problem with Hearn is that the hype is too much, and the hype is far greater than the actual truth of the matter. And Callum Smith, he has improved since we first saw him. He is developing a better boxing game, a better technical game, especially for such a tall fighter as well. He's great with the body shots. But again, it's the hype. He's not ready for someone like George Groves or James DeGale or obviously not Andre Ward. He beat Christopher Rebras, but he got bullied by Christopher Rebras at times. And Rebras, he's not a power puncher. He had Callum up against the ropes a lot in that fight, and it wasn't just because Smith was boxing on the back foot, so to speak. He was stuck there at times, taking a lot of shots, and he's got a lot to learn. And if he takes those sort of shots against someone like Groves, a big Groves right hand is going to fucking put him to sleep, and it's just simple as that.
I think we've actually got Dave the Hater want to get on the show just now. Someone's managed to get him there. You, Kurt, got him there. So that's the.
I was just going to say on Smith, the comparisons with the Groves fight. Groves was obviously on his way down to Rebras's level, and Smith was on his way up. So, the comparisons he did the same as Groves did. I don't think quite happened, but I don't think he's ready for world class, as we've all said. But I do think it would be a very close fight with George Groves if Smith and if Smith and him were to get it on. I think there's probably more chance of that happening if Groves doesn't win a world title in his next fight.
I don't think Rebras is that bad, to be honest.
Well, yeah, but he's European level, isn't it? I think he put up a decent fight. I like Rebras. I like the way he goes about his business. But yeah, I think he's European level.
Yeah, I don't think he just hasn't got the snap to kind of carry himself up to world level. I don't think. I mean, it's going to take a hell of a lot. It will take a hell of a boxing lesson actually for him to get above across the world title line. No, I think only me and Alex might have seen this fight. The absolute worst fight I've seen since Bellew Clevley 2, actually. The IBF flyweight title fight between Amnet Ringrong and Jean-Riel Casimiro. It was just an absolute foul fest. It was like WWE wrestling at times, rolling about the fucking floor, body slams, hooks with the head, and just silly uppercut. I somehow managed, Alex, the last 10 rounds of that shit, and then watched it, then switched it off. You talk about refereeing performances. I mean, that's Ian John Lewis, Pat Russell, and that motherfucker. I forget his name. Who the referee was yesterday? See if I can find it on Box Rec.
Larry Doggett.
Lewis Paban.
Fuck's sake, man! He should have got a grip of that fight way sooner.
Well, it's a fucking real bad weekend for the referees when Ian John Lewis isn't really the worst performance out there. I mean, fucking hell. He was obviously scared of the environment that he was in. He knew he was in Thailand with a big Thai fighter, and he was going to get fucked up if he did anything about what Ruin Rong was doing. And what Ruin Rong was doing was choke holding, body slamming, elbowing, anything he could want, anything he could do. He literally full-on chokeholds that you'd see in like MMA or UFC sort of standard. And Casemiro, he couldn't do anything about it. He didn't whine or bitch about it because he knew nothing would happen. He had about 5 chokeholds before the referee actually gave him a bit of a warning. I think it was about round 10 or 11 before a point was finally taken off. It was just the most disgusting, foul-ridden fight you've seen in years. I mean, there wasn't that many low blows or headbutts, surprisingly. It was mostly just wrestling, pushing to the ground, tripping him up, all sort of just complete bollocks. And Casemiro, you could see in his face, he was just, he was helpless. He actually won a few of the rounds in the later stages purely because Ruin Wong was doing what he usually does, which is fuck all. He likes prancing about, he likes messing about, and just running around. But he still won quite clearly, despite all of the fouls. I mean, he should have been disqualified. I mean, it was disgusting. But when he wanted to look good, he looked good. When he wanted to box, he was incredibly sharp. The sort of left hand counters and the straight right hand was just completely on point. And he did put Casemiro down in the second round, I think, with a peach of a shot. Saying that Casemiro put him down, but it got ruled a slip. But that's the referee's incompetence and / corruption again, unfortunately. But yeah, it was just the worst fight you would have seen for a few years, and the most disappointing part of it is you would never want to see someone like Roman Gonzalez go over there to go to Thailand to defend his title, because Ruin Wong would fuck him up. Ruin Wong would just foul all night, and there was nothing Gonzalez could do about it. If you want to fight Ruin Wong and you want to have a good shot at beating him, it has to be somewhere neutral, or preferably in your own hometown with your mum refereeing it, because that cunt is fucking filthy.
I'm not surprised at all. His fight with the previous fight with Xi Ming was putrid, just horrendous. So I would love to see the Gonzalez fight, because I think wherever they hold it, Gonzalez is too smart for him. He's smart enough to knock him out at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I just think after that, especially if HBO had shown that fight yesterday and stuff, I think they'd have been right put off between a fight between Gonzalez and Ruin Wong. I mean, and the way it seems to be sounding with the fact is Gonzalez is getting lined up now. I think they're looking at Giovanni Segura. I mean, Segura's like 33, 34 now. He lost his last fight by stoppage, I think, to Estrada, I think it was. It's just all it is going to be a showcase fight for anyone that follows the flyweight division, is that Gonzalez against Segura is not a competitive fight in any way, shape or form.
Segura's done, isn't he?
Yeah, aye. Especially at that age and at that weight, your prime comes and goes pretty quick. But I think they're also looking at Brian Valerio as well. He's another one semi-retired and stuff. So what is the point? Is, you want him in like Estrada. Inoue is no back until August, I believe. So I think you're looking at that potential fight, which would maybe happen next year. So I don't know. Estrada doesn't seem to be talking about a rematch anyway.
They're doing showcase fights, really, aren't they? They're trying to really make him look explosive and impressive on his HBO fights. I mean, they said he's going to be on the next Golovkin undercard with Segura, and that'll be good. But it's not an important fight to him, is it?
No.
He's going to win. He's going to knock him out. We do want to see the Estrada fights. You do want to see the Ruin Wong fight eventually, despite how messy and nasty it could be. We want to see Inoue fight as well. But obviously, this is boxing, and even the little weights suffer from the politics now and then.
Yep. Before we move on to Twitter questions, obviously sad news comes through Thursday night, early Friday morning, that British commentator, former world champion Jim Watt's daughter sadly passed away for apparent suicide. Apparently, we haven't really got that confirmed yet as to what happened. Very, very sad. Deepest condolences from the guys at Nuthouse podcast. We know we've given Jim shit in the past, stuff for his commentary, his scorecards, etc. But no parents should be basically burying their children, and Jim's now going to have to do it for the second time. So it's grim time, so best of wishes go to Jim Watt and the family. You've got to really think about his wife. And when Jim says after his son died that the way he dealt with it was how he prepared for a fight, you just kind of put problems at the back of your head and get on with it. His wife struggled to kind of get over the son's death, but this now the daughter apparently taking her own life. This is going to, it's terrible. And as I say, best wishes go to the family anyway. First question up anyway on the Twitter question comes from Macho Grande Dave. Now we actually discussed this, and you've actually missed the Bradley discussion, but I'll go to you first. This is actually relating to Bradley. Now we were discussing, I think it might have been Kurt, about Bradley's style. It says, is Bradley caught between styles? He can counter punch, brawl, box, straight out fight. Does he know what he wants to be?
I wouldn't say he's caught, but I think he's just good at a lot of different things. Though his lack of power does hurt him when he goes for the stalking, brawling. But for the most part, when I saw of the fight and when I heard on the commentary and what I saw on Twitter about people like reacting to how Bradley was doing, very positive reactions. People are seeing like how good this guy can look. I mean, and everyone had that fight pretty wide. And I think I saw a lot of suggestions that Timmy should be in the Mayweather sweepstakes. I mean, I know we have this really important business with Kareem Mayfield and Andre Berto to get to solve first, but Tim Bradley's up there.
What did you make of the American stoppage last night, Dave?
Yeah, it was terrible. But
tinnitus. He's got fucking tinnitus, the old cunt.
The guy did admit his mistake, though, which is good. I mean, a lot of time. I mean, at least it's not corruption, because he's like, oh.
He was pretty quick, to be fair. He was pretty quick to say, because he waved his hands at chest level, and usually if a fight gets stopped when a stoppage, the hands kind of go up, kind of high. This was at chest level, and he says, fight's over. Vargas took a fucking paddy and decided to go, yeah, I won the fucking fight, yeehaw. He should actually get a Billy the Week nomination for that celebration, prick.
Yeah, he knew he didn't. He knew the fight was over. He knew he didn't win. He was just trying to make it look like that so that he could bitch about it later. Which I'm sure he did.
I think Pat Russell was born, and he looked like a fucking old man when he was born. Because see, for the last 10, 15 years, he's looked the same. He's always looked old, eh?
That's the other thing as well, mate. Remember the Provodnikov fight? He was the one that actually failed to... Was it him that actually failed to give Provodnikov a knockdown? Late on in that fight, it practically gave Bradley the win.
No, he gave it to him late in the fight.
He didn't score one around 10-8 when it should have been 10-8. Remember when Bradley hurt him? It started. Remember Bradley hurt him and he shut out him and he only scored.
What the fuck?
Fuck knows what that was.
Like Cole gave...
Or he didn't score a knockdown and it went. The judges could only score the round 10 fucking 10-8 and 10-9 instead of 10-8.
Did any of you score that last round 10-8?
What, the Bradley
no chance. No danger.
There's no way that's a 10-8 round. There's no way.
Yeah, I thought Bradley won the round except for that big shot.
Did anyone...
But this comes back to that whole debate we had a few weeks ago about rounds and scoring. I mean, if someone knocks someone down, does that make it a 10-8 round automatically? Or is it judged on, what happened before? It's very, very difficult. I think two of the judges gave it 10-9 and one gave it 10-8, didn't they?
What I think about
it was Kenny Bayless's brothers, like Kermit Bayless or something. Kermit the fucking frog. Scored at 10-8. I think he was the one that had the close scorecard, 115, 112.
Bradley only took that one punch in that whole exchange. That was pretty much the only punch Vargas landed. It was a fucking peach of a punch, but he didn't really follow up with anything on it, and I don't think you can really claim a 10-8 on that, unfortunately. I mean, we've seen 10-8 rounds where Bradley doesn't go down. I think the way Provodnikov beat the fucking piss out of him, that's a 10-8 round. Bradley didn't go down, but I still think it's a 10-8.
I think it could have been scored as sympathy 10-8, but in the confusion, he collected the cards that quickly that there wasn't... if I was a judge there, I'd have realised the mistake in the ring and possibly gave it a sympathy 10-8. I'd probably not by the rules. But if you're giving that round a 10-8 on what you saw, you're actually taking credit away from the amazing, I won't say skill, but kind of ability and from Bradley to survive that punch. You're taking the credit away because he survived that punch. And
that's
really,
what I said.
9 times out of 10, you're not going to survive it. You're going to at least go down. He probably would have got back up if he was to go down, but he deserves credit for taking that punch as he did.
That's what I said. I mean, that stoppage last night, or that refereeing decision there last night, actually took away the shine of Bradley's performance. Because I thought Bradley was absolutely brilliant last night, and I don't think he's getting the credit he deserved. I mean, I know, as I said before, Vargas isn't the greatest fighter. This is what happens. You step up against elite fighters, but Bradley dealt with a guy in a manner befitting an elite fighter. He dealt with him. He's trash.
Yep.
Next question, Tommy for Rocco is asking, best four-man tourney that can be made at present, 175, Kovalev, Beterbiev, Stevenson and Ward if he moves up, hypothetical?
Yeah, that's a cracker, isn't it? I'd go with that, definitely.
Any other weight? What about cruiserweights? We're getting a fucking four-man tourney in there.
Obviously there's welterweight as well. You could actually have an 8-man tournament there, couldn't you? You got Mayweather, Pacquiao, Brook, Porter, fucking... The list goes on and on, doesn't it? But
Broner, the best of them all.
Fuck that, he's need to go back to the 135, isn't he? Not even 140. Imagine him against Lucas Matisse at 140. That would just be an absolute massacre, eh? Bradley needs to get Carson. He's a lightweight.
We could see a decent one at heavyweight as well.
He'll never make 135 again. As I said last week, he'll be struggling if he keeps up.
Dedication, that's how.
No, as I said last week, he'll never make 135 again because of his lack of dedication, and that's ship sail. And the way he's going just now, he's never going to make 140 again the way he's carrying on.
Yep, definitely.
Maybe if his dad puts him in a concentration camp, that's the only way he makes lightweight again.
Well, this is what I say. I mean, I don't think Cloner actually trains to actually like work on his game or actually improve his skills. I think he just simply trains to make weight. And when that happens, then you know you're in problems.
Yeah, he just thinks he's that good.
I thought it was interesting when Kenny Porter said he's been telling his trainer to fuck off and that since he's been 10-year-old. He's obviously been we've seen it ourselves and been very disrespectful to his corner, but he really needs somebody to take him in hand. He needs to get away from the team he's with just now because obviously there's no respect there. He needs to get himself a decent trainer, somebody like maybe I'd say Floyd Mayweather Senior would be perfect for him. Floyd Mayweather Senior's going to take his shite. He's going to fucking make him train. He's going to teach him some new things and that. You know, the thing with Broner is he's trying to be a defensive genius, but that's just not his game, is it? He's an offensive fighter. He needs to get his fucking hands up.
Wolf whip him into shape.
Who?
Exactly. Fucking
and
right.
Wolf.
Yep.
And Wolf.
He'd quit if he went with Aaron Wolf. He'd quit and walk out the fucking gym. He can't hack it. He's got no confidence and he can't handle it.
He is a fraud. I think we're getting our first caller on the show. What's his name? Tommy? Is that his name? Kurt. Thomas Cummings, that's his name.
I'll be Thomas Cummings later on when I get this wee dirty.
You dirty bastard. What's her name, mate? In fact, what age is she? I thought the fucking deflator after you finish with her, eh?
What's up, pal?
The fucking deflator after you finish with her, yeah?
It's one of the Jahidi fucking blows itself at one of the Jahidi dolls. It blows itself off,
Thomas isn't there, so right. Well, he must have shot out it. Thomas, if you're there, then join the call. If no, then we'll need to call it a knockdown. Next question, I'll go to Alex from Michael Hederick. Which elite level boxers would you say are 100% not on performance-enhancing drugs? There are very few, and I would feel confident in calling. Well, you could probably say Tim Bradley. He's definitely clean.
Yeah.
VADA testing.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Bradley, despite his physique, I'd say he is clean. He's just very genetically gifted. Denaire was also on the VADA 365 thing. Again, you could say that, he was with, what's his name, Victor Conte at the time, and we all know how shady he is, but... I think it's impossible to say 100% which fighters aren't on it because they're all fucking. The sport is just so ridden with it. It's outrageous. I mean, Bradley's a good example, I'd say. I mean, physique again isn't really a big marker of what it is. I mean, you can get big fat guys having it. I mean, look at the state of what's his name?
Look at James Toney when he was on steroids.
Yeah, James Toney. There was recently, what's his fucking name? The guy against Lebedev.
Jones.
Yeah, Guillermo Jones. Yeah, I mean, state of him.
Marius Wack.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of them. It's never about how muscly you are. Anyone can be doing it. So keep your eyes out. I've always erred on the side of they're guilty rather than innocent. But maybe that's just cynical of me.
That's your National Socialist upbringing, mate. You know, you're very, very right wing about that. You know, you've actually got to prove your innocence. You know, in fact, if you were a judge, mate, you would fucking have them hung before they finished the oath.
No comment.
That is very true.
See, my thing with performance-enhancing drugs is how many of these supplements and that and the things that we don't know about are going to be discovered in the next 10 years and banned. They're discovering new stuff all the time and that, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, they're definitely going to be taking some things in that they fucking really shouldn't be taking. And in time it's going to be banned. Obviously in the past we've seen it with the cream and the clear for the Balco labs and
Shane Mosley.
We've seen what happened there. Yeah.
The drug makers are the ones are ahead of the testers, basically. The guys who make the drugs.
Right. They'll take fucking a certain thing out, something that's illegal, put something else in it that isn't illegal, and there you go. You've basically got the same thing, and it's not going to flag up my test. See what I look at fighters for the 1940s and the 1950s who were fighting fucking 15 hard rounds, and if you look at their bodies, they don't look like they're obviously been in better shape than the fighters today, but they don't look like they're in better shape, you know. So who the fuck had a 14-pack back in the fucking 1940s, 1950s? Nobody. There is stuff going on, but it's hard to prove, obviously, unless you're doing the testing and you know what you're looking for.
Finally got a first caller on, Thomas Cummins. Thomas, you there, mate?
Right, lads, can you hear me?
Yeah. Away, mate. What's in your mind?
I just wanted to talk about, so Friday night I watched it, and like a lot of you, I muted the Bellew fight to watch Glastonbury. But I just wanted, the Sky coverage is just getting ridiculous, I feel. I know Nick,
I think at one point Nick Holland or Nick Apollon actually mentioned or talked about the colour of someone's fucking trunks.
It was something. Yeah, he talked about how blue the blue was. I think.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, Callum Smith fight.
And I watch it, and the two commentators, they're just cheerleaders for the matchroom. I think Paul mentioned it about Box Nation and John Rawling, that you know him and Barry John, they sometimes cheerlead the Warren fighter, but at the end of the day, I've got no issue with that, because Box Nation and Queensberry Promotions, like Frank Warren said in the IFL interview, it's one and the same. They're the same thing. Rawling is an employee of Box Nation and Queensberry, whereas Adam Smith or whoever, Nick Halling and Glenn McCrory aren't. So there should be an element of impartiality when they call the fight, and it's just not. They're just beating the drum of the Hearn fighter. When they were talking, they made Callum Smith sound like a defensive genius, saying he's boxing on the back foot when he wasn't. Rabrasse was backing him up.
What do you make of the Bellew fight, mate?
Shit.
Classic performance. You know, I think he deserves a world title fight after that.
I don't understand how. Where's Bellew got this reputation of being this exciting fighter? I don't get it. Everyone builds them up as being this machine that walks people down and knocks them out. It's just not the case. He could have. If he'd have tried, he could have knocked that geezer out in 2 or 3 rounds. He just doesn't. I know he wants to get rounds, but in this day and age, I don't believe in these keep busy fights. You can get decent rounds in the gym, surely.
And I think it alludes to a bigger problem with the show, though. Like I said, in terms of the televised fights that we get on Sky now, so taking away the main event, which again was still a building fight, but was at least competitive. I mean, we got 2 televised fights in the Martin Murray and Tony Bellew that did not need to be on TV. I mean, HBO and Showtime don't show 5 or 6 fights on the card. They tend to show 1 or 2 or at most 3. And when you look at the kind of crap that we were given on Friday, I sort of support that system, really. I'd have been much happier tuning in at 9 o'clock, watching Fielding Vera and Smith versus Rebrass. I wouldn't have felt any indifference about missing those 2, like I said, learning fights, comeback fights, whatever they are. I get that that's what Matchroom do, but we don't need to see them. We don't need to sit through them from 8 o'clock. I'd rather just watch it later.
There's also a case that if you're not fighting in a Matchroom, you're just not considered, or they pick and choose when to mention fighters. So if a fight is not in Matchroom, they won't mention the fight being made. But in the case of someone like George Groves, they keep mentioning him. And I think it was Rocco made the point that when Martin Murray joined, they immediately sort of highlighted the Groves fight as being a world title fight for Martin Murray. Why not James De Gea, who's in the stable? Why not even someone like the winner of Chudinov Buglioni? You know, it's just ridiculous that they're obsessed with Groves and they won't make this Fielding Smith fight.
It's funny you mention that, mate. I mean, they are upset. Well, Hearn's obsessed with George Groves, because he knows that he can put bums in seats. That's the main thing. But there's just something about Groves that really fucking irritates Hearn.
And this idea of putting Callum Smith through the WBC route it's ludicrous. He's not gonna fight. If Callum Smith is going to get the WBC number one, he's not going to fight George Groves until late 2015, early 2016 at the most, because he's gonna, if he beats Barry Jack, he'll have a soft voluntary to defend it, and then probably the De Gale fight, and if he comes through that, then he'll fight Callum Smith, and it could be December 2016 by then.
Do you know something that's quite interesting though? Like I said, one fight that Sky show all the time when they do Sky Boxing Gold is Jamie Moore, Matthew Macklin. So they always bang on about that fight because of how good it was, and it was one of the best fights we've ever had on British TV. Eddie Hearn would not have made that fight. He wouldn't have made that fight. He'd have put them down separate paths.
Yeah,
and that is the problem. Rocky Fielding, Callum Smith, I'm not saying it'd be as good as that fight, but it's that same level. Two good, talented British guys. Throw them in a ring together and they'll give you a great fight. Eddie Hearn has zero interest in it. He'll only do it when the result is guaranteed, because the reason he won't make Smith Fielding is because he doesn't know that Smith's going to win for definite, and Callum Smith is the guy he wants to progress. When you make Cole Campbell, he's doing it because he knows the outcome and he knows he wants Luke Campbell to win. So he's happy to put that fight on.
You know my feelings on the Campbell-Core fight anyway, Paul. It's ridiculous. But one I know I've came on to criticise Sky, but I've got to give Ed Robinson a lot of credit. In the Bellew post-fight interview, the way he turned to Eddie Hearn and asked Hearn about Cleverly Fana, that was brilliant. Bellew's reaction was just hilarious. He started effing and jeffing on live TV. You're just thinking, you're just a bell end.
It was the most entertaining thing Bellew did all night, actually, was his reaction to that question to Hearn.
Just one more thing. You didn't really touch on it last week because, like most Frank Warren fights, it gets announced before anything's signed and anything's actually sanctioned. But how do you guys see Billy Joe, Andy Lee?
I think Andy Lee probably wins this fight, actually. I really do think he will win this fight. I just think he's got the better tank, got the better power, and all-round better experience.
Personally, I see it as a bit of a mismatch in favour of Andy Lee. Billy Joe, he's a good boxer, but there are too many fighters, and they're boxing at domestic level, and then managing to get a world title fight as a mandatory without fighting even a world fringe contender. Yeah, Billy Joe Saunders beat Chris Eubank Jr., but I think it's fair to say Chris Eubank Jr. probably his toughest fight up until then was probably someone like Frankie Borg.
His toughest fight before that was fucking constipation.
And it's just...
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Billy Joe Saunders absolutely schools him. I'm not really that high on Andy Lee, to be honest. Jackson, even going back a few fights, the Jackson fight, he was losing that fight badly. Korobov won the fight, he was losing the fight. Quillen, well...
It's just the fact that he's got that power to turn the fucking fight though, mate.
He has, but see, to be honest, I think Billy's actual boxing is a different level to him.
Tommy, I agree, mate. I'm in the Billy Joe camp.
Lee could knock him out. To be fair, I wouldn't rule that out. But
that's what makes it a good fight.
It does. But I think Billy's going to look very, very good against him. I think he's going to put on a bit of schooling.
Thomas, anything else, mate, before we let you go? Briefly.
What do you make? I know Adam's just put it on the. What do you make of Cleverly from Fun? Because I was at the May 30th card, and Bramer came across in the post fight as being a signed, sealed, delivered. Where's that gone? And what I saw someone made a really good point on Twitter after Friday night. Eddie Hearn was talking about world title fights and that being the priority. He's sort of completely gone against that in making the Fonfana fight.
Well, I'm torn on this situation because my initial response was disappointed. What's going off? Why is he not fighting Bramer? But then I realised, and I just assume nowadays that all belts are paper. But I realised that Bramer is the definition of a paper champ, and he's going to be Cleverly. He's going to go over to America, probably get more money, certainly more exposure especially when you're considering his future escapades. And it's possible. I know it's close, but it's possibly an easier fight as well. And I think that it's, it can be, if this has been taken into consideration, the fact that he's, putting two fingers up to a paper belt, then if that is a reason for it, then fair dues. That needs applauding, to be honest. And also you've got the element, I think Kurt said it, that Bramer, skanked cleverly, 2 or 3 times, pulled out of fights, etc., etc. Has he done the same to Bramer?
Mm-hmm. The thing about beating the pole as well is it's putting him right in the short window for a fight with Adonis Stevenson, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which obscure US city will that fight happen on the PBC card?
Era, Pennsylvania.
You said that.
I think that fight shows how much power Al Heyman's got. So Eddie Hearn and Callis Howland are good friends. They've known each other for a long time. They do a lot of deals together. Al Heyman's
deals.
Yeah, exactly. There is that. We've all seen his nose. But Al Heyman's basically picked up the phone and said, or one of his people, we've got this fight for Cleverly if you're interested. And he's foregone a fight they've been building towards ever since they lost against Bellew. And they've foregone risking the relationship between the two promoters who have worked together a lot. All because Al Heyman says so. Like I said, Eddie Hearn is a big fish, but not compared to Al. Al has that much power around the world that he can basically say, this is going to happen, do you want to do it? And if you say no to him, then you risk your fighters not being on that channel again.
Okay. Cheers for that, Thomas, mate.
Cheers.
All the best. Cheers, mate. Let's moving on to the next Twitter question. Michael Garrity. Kurt, if Tony Bellew isn't feeling 100%, but Dave Caldwell managed to get the extra 25% out of him, even though 99% of other boxers would have pulled out, what percentage is Tony Bellew full of shit?
That's right up there with Shep. That's a great question.
I lost confusion in all of that, but 100% Tony Bellew is full of shit. We know that.
I mean, if Tony goes on about like how he cuts weight and stuff like that, if he says that he's only like 20% body fat, then he's definitely 80% full of shit. Robert Johnson is asking Adam, on 2 occasions after 3 stoppages at cruiserweight, Tony Bellew has talked into the camera saying all day, every day, I carry power, and I got sent away, but I'm back now. I'm back. What would Tony say if he iced Hernandez?
Oh, the possibilities are endless. But the likelihood is that he's going to get iced by Hernandez. It's just great, really, that how Bellew's mouth is. I remember parts of that intro to Bellew of the Week. I can basically memorise off the top of my head. It's brilliant. It provides so much entertainment. And as I said earlier, genuinely, I enjoy his interviews currently more than his fighting.
Paul, imagine he won a title, Bellew. He'd be talking Hall of Fame. He'd be talking Hall of Fame in the fucking interview.
He'd be calling us all out. He'd be calling us all out.
And he'd be fucking trying to go on this podcast anyway, wouldn't he?
I don't know how the cruiserweight division is with belts because, like I say, I've completely lost interest. But he would be perfect. Bellew would be perfect for a regular belt. That's right down his alley. That is.
Oh, it's the IBF route they're going to go down. But looks
not quite good enough, but I think I'm good enough. That's what a WBA belt regular says.
A couple of questions in here from Chris Mohan. Paul, who carries more power, Tony Bellew or Disabled Penguin?
I think we've got to give it to the Penguin, and he makes less of a deal about it as well. Tony Bellew doesn't have single punch power. He doesn't have combination power. He doesn't have one single punch that you think he's good at throwing that punch. He's awful style to watch.
Chris is also asking Dave, will Martin Murray ever win a world title?
I think he could have if he'd stayed at middleweight. At 168, I have my doubts. I think he could have beat a guy like Quillen or Lee. I think he could have beat. I mean, middleweight's weak, so I mean, if he got the fights, I think he could have beat a lot of guys, or well, not a lot of guys, but many of the guys that are not named Golovkin.
Well, the reason why he moved.
What about Murray against Arthur Abraham? Arthur Abraham's not really a super middleweight either, is he? He's pretty much a blown up middleweight, in my opinion.
If they go that route, then yeah, I mean, he's got a good chance in that fight. Or if Sturm somehow ever comes back and they make that rematch, he could win that easily.
I think the only reason Murray actually moved up to 168 is just because he's after the paydays against, all of the Brits at home, the Smiths, De Gea and Groves. We know, we've said it countless times before, Murray's only in this for the money, as it were, so he's going to take whatever route he can, or whatever route Hearn lays out for him.
See McKetch, Kurt's asking, how long before we see Oscar getting carted off to rehab in his fishnets? Or I think we should maybe just leave that for a discussion segment a little bit later on. Okay, I'll give you this one then. Chopper Mills, what about a list of shit fighters, the shittiest of the shit, 20-0 shit, and then get chinned and never seen again? Would you maybe count Errol Christie in there?
I didn't even get the question, what he was on about.
What about a list of shit fighters, the shittiest of the shit, 20-0 shit, then they got chinned and never seen again?
What about, who's the guy who got blown out by Randall Bailey? Mike Jones?
Oh, aye.
He got
stopped again. Mike Jones got stopped again a couple of weeks ago, didn't he?
He was winning 11-0, Mike Jones, I think, and he got stopped in the 12th.
That's right. It was the worst fight ever It was the worst fight ever with the greatest stoppage ever that year, probably.
Well, there's an answer to that question is you can go and get absolutely blasted out like Tony Bellew in Canada, but it can be brushed under the carpet by TV companies both sides of the Atlantic, and it can, still be apparent big ticket sellers.
Who will go to this one? I can't remember who's on this fucking podcast. See when he's supposed to start chiming in. Who have I got here? Right, I'll go to Tommy. Next question, Martin Hurry. Who is the best current referee and who is your favourite ref of all time?
Oh, the favourite all times. So obviously Mills Lane. He's your daddy. He's your godfather, isn't he? Current refs I like.
I thought Arthur McCartney Senior was pretty good.
Arthur McCartney, definitely. He's a legend.
Mickey Van for me.
Mills Lane was the best. I mean, there's not really many refs that stand out these days.
Victor Loughlin's a good ref. I really like him.
Loughlin's solid. I was always a big fan of Kenny Bayless. He's getting older right now. Steve Smoger, Smoger's made a couple of mistakes in that too, hasn't he? But he's been solid over the years. I'd probably go with Kenny Bayless, although he's getting older now. I like Kenny
Cortez. I thought Joe Cortez was the all-time.
Joe Cortez.
Tony Weeks fucked himself.
I farted in the elevator when Joe Cortez was in it for what he done to Ricky Hatton. It was fucking stinking as well.
Fucking bit of like last night's curry and stuff like that. Yeah, I can't.
I'd been on the burgers and I was in New York. I'd been on the fucking burgers and ribs and that all week, man. Guinness a night or four.
Oh. I gave you a fair dollar shite in the morning, by the way. It's like the fucking bomb doors open when you just fucking Artex a pan, don't you?
Somebody mentioned Mickey Van there. Mickey Van was a great. I thought he was a great referee. He was a terrible judge, but he was a good referee. Yeah.
If Mickey Van was still over in America, he'd probably still be reffing. But over here, they got the age limits and that. And I know he did a few jobs in Ireland. Steve.
That's a disgrace. You see fat bastards like fucking Dave Paris and that, and you know that Mickey Van could run rings around them. It's fucking bullshit, isn't it?
Would it surprise me to see Tommy O'Connor have a fucking heart attack in the middle of a fight one night? Would not surprise me in the slightest.
I was waiting on it. See before Richie Davis lost the way. I was waiting on that coming with him, by the way.
Well, Richie Davis fell out with the board, didn't he? He told him to quit. Yeah. But with just on Mickey Van, someone like him with his knowledge and some of the fights he's officiated, Ricky Hatton for quite a while.
Fit as fuck, by the way.
Exactly. He should really be used on either Box Nation or Sky, as a pundit, whether it be regular or irregular. He's got some right knowledge and could definitely give a decent insight. I mean, but they're probably scared of bringing him on because he'll shit on the likes of Ian John and Terry O'Connor. But
well, that brings us to the next question, which is on Ian John Lewis. Paul, when will the board finally rule Ian John Lewis incompetent? He's like Bambi on ice making a mockery of fights. I mean, honestly, he made a complete... I mean, okay... He made a complete mistake at the first knockdown, but he still manages to second guess himself every time he jumps in to stop a fight.
So Ian John Lewis used to be a boxer. He understands the game. He's been doing it for a long time, but he is the definition of a panicked referee. And I'll tell you the difference is, considering all the shit that Howard Foster got for Froch Groves, Howard Foster went right back to the next fight and carried on. It's almost as if Ian John Lewis hasn't quite recovered from some of the horrendous mistakes he's made. I mean, allowing Briggs to get his head basically caved in by Klitschko for 12 rounds and not even at any point look into the corner to say, I think you should stop it or I'm going to stop it. The Enzo Macronelli Afolabi stoppage, which is probably the worst stoppage I've ever seen. It's definitely up there. And like I said, he's just this second guessing of himself. And will the board, the British Boxing Board, are a very, very funny group of people. Just because the public are saying that something needs to happen doesn't necessarily mean that that's what they think. I mean, the public have been campaigning to get rid of Nick and Jim for years, and that's not happened with Sky. The board are very similar. They have their own rules and their own way of thinking. But he's been warned before. I think what he needs to do is go do some non-televised, small hall stuff, get his confidence back, get used to stopping fights at the right time. But if we ever see him on a television set, jump in between two fighters, look at the fighter who's been hurt, pause 3 seconds for waving his hands, I will scream. Because that is just, you want to stop a fight, you jump in, you stop the action, and you wave your arms. You don't stick your head in, have a look at the guy, and then go, what can you do with that? If he says, okay, carry on, well, then that's not fair for the fighter who was winning. And if he stops it without it needing to be stopped, it's not fair for the fighter who was getting hit. He's a poor referee. Well, he's a good referee who has lost the ability to do his job.
The thing is with refs, the best ones are the ones that we can't name, especially me, the ones that we don't hear of. We don't want them interviewed. We don't want to know, even though they're there. They're the best referees.
Yep. Next question comes in from Jack. Kurt, will Bellew getting KO'd in front of his home fans when he fights for the world title be the greatest moment in boxing history?
Well, if you don't like Tony
he'd
Bellew,
need to go into hiding, wouldn't he?
Yeah, it'd be. I mean, he'd probably bring out his excuses, I imagine. But I mean, he's one of those guys that a lot of people just dislike for whatever reason, and seeing him getting sparked at anywhere, I think, would be great for them.
True story, by the way. Right? We're watching the fight on Friday night, and I said to the missus, "Here's this wanker on fighting now." And she's asking all these questions. Why is he a wanker? This and the next thing and that. I says, just watch him, right? And after the fight, he up to the camera and says, "I'm back." She turned to me and she says, "Ah, you're right. He's an arsehole." And she never even watches the boxing. Next question, Dave.
But just before you go on, Andy, right, just talking about funny things that women say, right? I was watching it was a Ricky Burns Terence Crawford fight. I was watching it with my dad, right?
Uh-huh.
And my mum came through. She's like, "What one's Ricky Burns?" I was like, "You're fucking joking me." One like a Ace of Spades and one like a multiple. What one's Ricky Burns?
Fucking hell. Sam Carp's asking Dave, do you think Pat Russell smells of Glacier Mints or Weathers Originals? This is a genuine question.
Pat Russell's, I'm thinking Werther's Originals. He's got that butterscotch look to him.
He's got that granddad appeal to him, isn't he?
Yeah. He probably hands them out.
I probably need to go to Paul with this one, because I know Paul's really up to date on all things pay-per-view and Matchroom and stuff. You know, we don't call him Press Pass Paul for nothing. But Andy Roy's asking Paul, what's been the worst card by Matchroom this year, apart from May 30th, which was pay-per-view? They have been utter shite.
Newcastle. Straight away, Newcastle have been the worst show that Sky put on. If you're talking obviously non-pay-per-view and televised, the Newcastle show was absolutely appalling. There was nobody on it, there was no names on it, and the fights weren't great. And the very close runner to that, actually there's been a few, let's be honest, Hull with the Tommy Coyle getting his head taken off and then coming back to win, with a guy who Martin Gethin stopped with his ear injury. That was an appalling card. And the show and the Birmingham show, to be fair, the Birmingham show was entertaining because it was probably the most 1 to 100, I don't know how you say it, Adam will correct me, odds for the home fighters, because there were absolute terrible mismatches, and Matchroom's matchmaker had a lot of questions to be asked about that, and he has on a few of his shows. They've had 3 absolute shockers, but the Liverpool show, like I said, just wasn't that good either, and there's a real problem that this is what we'll get now. May the 30th was so much better than everything else we've seen this year. And you'll see that as well in September. The September pay-per-view, I can guarantee, will be brilliant. Will be a really good card. What will happen between now and September and Christmas, don't expect a whole lot.
What about the Rumble and the Humber? What kind of card is that?
Well, in terms of the main event, obviously, like I said, it's for the city of Hull, so it's a bit more of a localised show, but it will sell well. But we all know it's a terribly one-sided fight. I don't think the undercard is looking that strong at the minute, but they've got a bit of time to sort it. But that's the bigger show we've got to look forward to, and that's the kind of calibre of show that we'll get now, not pay-per-view. Because again, if I'm Eddie Hearn, I'm thinking, well, Fielding Smith, I'm not going to make that on Sky. I'm probably not going to make it at all. But if I do make it, I'll put it on a pay-per-view card, and then we'll have 4 big title fights again. Anything semi-decent is going to be on pay-per-view from now on. And that's just going to be a reality for Sky. We've got to get used to it.
Hamada is asking the question, Dave, do you think if that wanker Hearn had his way, he'd put Groves in a 4-on-1 handicap match versus the Gale, Fielding, Callum Smith and Martin Murray?
Is Hearn bitter about like maybe Groves turning down an offer or something and going to Sauerland?
I don't know what
obviously, as he's at Sauerland and he's still got to deal with Sky, that's a slap in the face to Hearn.
The thing is, what pay-per-view was it that Sky had to get involved and he had to get him on the undercard?
That was the
Bellew one, right? Because Sky had to get involved. I think what's the top guy's name again? Barney Francis had to step in and say, "I want George Groves on the card."
Hearn wants all the power at Sky, and he's mad.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think we've got another caller coming on shortly. Is it Andy Roy? His name is a regular listener. Just waiting on him to come and jump on the call. Got a few questions, and we're going to get on to Bellew of the Week award now. I don't know what we're going to be talking about this week in the Bellew of the Week, guys. What do you think? Could be quite a dry segment this week, I think.
I think we'll have to stretch it out quite a bit.
Yeah, could be. You could be talking out your arse. It might never go back the same again, you know. So Andy's not on the call yet. So while we're waiting on Andy coming through, I'll get the next question up. I'll go to Adam. Will is asking, if Khan misses out on the Mayweather sweepstakes, who does he realistically fight next September, December? Ortiz, Pacquiao, Thurman, Porter, Chino 2 or Garcia rematch?
Bradley.
Oh, I'm glad you've asked this. The disaster continues with Mr. Khan. I'm past Kieran, to be honest.
Utter fud, isn't it? Eh?
Yeah, I'm past Kieran. Like I said, plenty of times. You can't blame Khan for chasing the Mayweather fight, but never has anyone chased a fight or one fighter so rigorously for so long and failed. And that's...
Shannon Briggs and Klitschko.
Well,
let's go, Joe.
Let's go.
I mean, but yeah, it's just Khan's an embarrassment, and he has been for a long time for me. I don't really care who he fights, to be honest. And I'm saying all this on the back of him looking excellent. I thought he was verging on career best versus Devin Alexander. I thought he was very good against Algieri last time. But it's just, I hope that Floyd is that much of the word you Scots like to use regular, what I won't say. I hope he's that much of one of them that I hope that he just screws Khan over. I just hope he does, because
he definitely is one of them.
Good. Well, I just want to see Khan publicly ridiculed, and that's what I want to see. So I do apologise to Aisha, who obviously won't be liking these comments, but. I
actually just want to see him get to a point where he's got no options rather than go begging with the begging ball to fight Brook.
Yeah, but I agree. When the Khan fans say that the Brook fight will always be there, yeah, I agree with it. It will always be there, but you ain't going to get paid nowhere near as much money, and you're going to be coming home with your tail between your legs.
Oh, this what we're talking about, this $5 million that Eddie Hearn's saying that he's going to pay Amir for a full house at Wembley.
Well, I thought you're an Amir Khan fan, aren't you?
Well, it's
he would.
So a full house at Wembley equates to £3.1 million. Come on, fuck, man, eh? Don't talk shit.
Khan's doing a lot better than Brook right now. Who cares about
but it depends. How do you measure it, though, man? How do you measure it?
Khan's path is in America.
By the guys they fought.
Even if it
dominated
Wait, one at a time, please, when you go, Tommy.
As I say, Amir Khan's path is in America. Even if he doesn't get the Floyd Mayweather fight, he's going to fight. He's going to look for a fight with somebody else. He's going to look for a fight with Manny Pacquiao. He's going to look for a fight against Manny Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto. They're the kind of fights he's after. He's not going to... Kell Brook is nothing to him. Kell Brook he's going to build his name. He's a local attraction. What he's going to do is he's going to build his name, get beat good fighters, and get obviously box office over here. And he's obviously going to make a name for himself with a network over in America because he's going to build. It's going to be a big fight on both sides of the water. You know, it's
other than Floyd. Right. Who does Khan make most money against? And I'm including Pacquiao.
He makes more money against Pacquiao. He makes more money against Miguel Cotto. He could make more money against Canelo. He could make more money against fucking...
He's never going to fight any of the guys, though.
Well, I don't know. I think Cammy's a big enough name to get the big fights.
But he was never going to fight the guys, though. This is the thing. He's never going to step up and fight Cotto. Too much risk. He's never going to fight Thurman. Too much risk. He's never going to fight fucking Chino rematch because he begged the WBA not to allow a rematch to happen for 23 months. Guy's a fraud.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, if he was a fraud and he wouldn't face Maidana the first time, and he basically told Golden Boy to go and make that fight when everybody thought he was going to get his head ripped off. So I think Camille cannot fight anybody. Just Kell Brook. There's a lot of bullshit coming out from Matchroom. Obviously, we know that Eddie Hearn doesn't really come, and that stretches back to what happened with Paul McCloskey, where they absolutely fucking taken the piss right out of him. And there's been a chat with Eddie Hearn. So Eddie Hearn is full of shit. He's saying that's a Wembley fight. That's not a Wembley fight. He's saying he can guarantee him your fucking this. He can guarantee him. How can he guarantee him anything when he's talking shit about the venue to start with? There's a lot of things. Brook has got to build his name. It's a big fight in Britain, but in the grand scheme of things, is it really a big fight? There's bigger fights out there for Can. Can wants the bigger fights. It's simple as that. His path is in America. Yeah. It's not in the UK.
I agree. Brook needs to
look at it like this. There's bigger fights. There's big fights like with Keith Furman, Sean Porter. They're just as big as fights with Kell Brook. Did Kell Brook even beat Sean Porter? You know what I mean? I don't even think he won that fight.
The Maidana match would be bigger than Brook. I mean, I don't care about the money. It would be a bigger fight. Maidana's been in twice with Floyd, given him hell once. He had an amazing fight of the year with Khan already. A rematch of that's bigger than Brook. Who cares about Brook? Brook has one good win, a win in which he looked like Vlad in hugging, landing a couple clean shots, getting outworked, but probably taking the close decision. I had him winning. But, I mean, then he goes and fights Jojo Dan and Gavin. Come on.
Exactly.
He's not even looking to be at world level with crap like that.
Amir Khan get shit for fighting somebody like Chris Algieri. Chris Algieri's a good fighter. Look at fucking who Brook's fighting, man. Absolutely shocking running opponents.
Right, let's see if I'm right enough here if Andy Roy's not on this call. Andy, you there, mate?
Can you hear me?
Oh, you are there?
Yes, I've been here the full time.
I was trying to I mean, your fucking name didn't come up on the list of callers there, eh?
Yes,
my bad, mate. On you go. Fire away. What's in your mind?
Well, it's the Ian John Lewis situation, but you've already kind of covered it, but he's a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, he's going to get somebody, in all seriousness, he's going to get somebody a really bad injury, or he's going to get somebody killed. I think it was Adam, it says, Vera, he dropped to one knee, and then Rocky fucking uppercutted him up. I mean, that shouldn't be happening. It's fucking chaos. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. Alex.
Sorry, yeah. Well, you just summed it up really. He's a fucking lunatic and he's fucking useless. He needs to be put in front of the board and either given his training again or put in a fucking mental institute, kept away from fights because he's fucking useless. I mean, even as a judge, he's not that good. I seem to remember him putting in some shocking scorecards as well. Not off the top of my head, I can't think of it. But
he had the Linares and Mitchell fight. He had fucking Mitchell ahead in every round.
That was the one he hit him over the head about 4 or 5 rounds, didn't he?
Aye, which, in my opinion, was fucking crazy. But he gets paid for his opinion. I don't. So hey ho. But
yeah, you don't get involved, mate. You just watch, like Tony Bellew says, you know.
Aye, that's it. Aye. So that was all I really kind of wanted to say, but. He kind of says he's already covered it, but it's absolute fucking madness. It really is. And obviously somebody said earlier on that he was pulled up in front of the board and he's been watched. Is that right? Aye.
According to Kurt anyway, aye. What was the fun again, Kurt? What was the reason? Is this because he turned up late?
Timekeeping, wasn't it?
Yeah, fuck's sake, if I thought up on many things, but fucking timekeeping, I thought they'd be happy for him not to turn up at all.
Exactly. Well, for my opinion, that would be the fucking best situation. Do you know what I mean? But no for pulling him up on timekeeping when he's fucking going out there and stopping fights. As Paul says, he's so indecisive. He's like fucking. He makes a decision, then unmakes a decision, then makes a decision. He's fucking crazy. He doesn't know what he's doing. What he wants.
The McConnelly McKenzie fight was disgraceful, actually. And to be honest as well, this is the fighter during prize fighter actually scored. Who I think he scored a knockdown. What was it? He had the fighter scoring 2 knockdowns and he had the fighter fucking draw.
That was that the man in Blackpool, the last prize fighter.
I think it was.
I remember that. That's right. I had to score something. It was like fucking, I don't know, something stupid in it. That's right. I remember that. He's mental. He really needs to either stop or go back to training. Because as I say, there's going to be somebody that ends up getting a really bad injury, and it's not really what you want to see, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Mate.
That's it. We make jokes about it. We laugh about it, and we say, "Oh, he's shit." And Howard Foster, we laugh at him. Terry O'Connor, we laugh at his weight and how fucking useless he is. But Ian John Lewis, he's dangerous. He's going to get someone fucking killed or hurt or fuck up their career permanently, and it's just embarrassing.
I agree with that.
He did a good job in Hopkins Pascal.
Yeah, I suppose, but I tell you, he did an even worse job actually with fucking the Briggs Klitschko fight. That'll go down etched in infamy by the fact is that he allows Briggs to get almost put in a coma, and then he does that to the likes of fucking Brian Vera,
Andy,
Enzo
that's what I don't
McAnally.
understand. Through that fight, through the Briggs and Klitschko fight, he let that go when it shouldn't have been. And then other fights, he just jumps in and stops. And the first sign that there's anything, any power shots or anything like that, he just jumps in and stops. It's just, I don't understand it. It's really, I just really don't get it. It's crazy.
If that had been anybody but Shannon Briggs that night, with a head that hard and who's able to recover that well and that strong, I mean, he would have been dead.
Yeah.
Shannon Briggs is a hard head, thick neck guy who got nailed by Lennox Lewis's best power shots and dropped, but never knocked out. I mean, he was getting up after that, and he's a tough guy.
Anything else, Andy?
No, that's it. Just keep up the good work and enjoy the show. As
Cheers,
always.
mate. All the best.
Right.
Call back in again, bud.
Well done. Cheers, bye.
Thanks a lot, mate. Cheers. Just to very briefly wrap up these Twitter questions before we do go into Belly of the Week, I've got 3 left here. Alex Scott is asking if Hearn is using yardsticks for his fighters to promote them, why couldn't Callum Smith do what others have been doing and stop Biossi?
It's selective yardsticks for these guys, isn't it? They love to say that, Anthony Joshua beat him quicker, or Callum Smith knocked him out quicker, but they're always very selective about who they say beat him or what happened with it. Obviously the Biossi fight, Julian Love knocked that guy out in about 6 rounds, wasn't it, or 4 rounds, but Callum Smith went the distance. We heard about Anthony Joshua and Jason Gavin, or Joshua took 3 rounds, but it took Wilder 4 rounds. Joshua's looking better, but then we ignore the fact that what's his name, Amir Mansour knocked him out in 1 round. We've got the guy Joshua fought recently, took him a couple of rounds, and Chris Arreola sparked him out in 1 round. They don't. It's very selective, these yardsticks, and it seems to be a favourite tactic of Hearn's. It's never, Callum Smith beat this guy, beat this undefeated fighter, Anthony Joshua beat this undefeated fighter. It's they beat this guy faster than someone else. There's always a losing fighter they seem to be fighting.
I think going back to the question, Biossi, we can give Callum a pass there because that was his real first step up, to be honest.
Scotty's got the last 2 questions in here. Tommy, what's more annoying, Johnny Nelson wanking off fresh air with his hand movements, or calling Sir Joe Kawasaki and Eubanks?
I just can't be fucked with anything that guy says, man, But
great fight.
Half the time you can't even understand what he's fucking saying, you know what I mean? It's just, if his lips weren't around under Smith's belly end, he'd never have a job, man. No chance.
If he's calling Kalsaki, I mean, I give him props for that. He's on the ball. That's a good new nickname. Kalsaki. Ballsaki.
Seeing as you jumped in there, Dave, I'll give you the last question from Scotty. Who hates seeing men getting battered around the ring more, Ian John Lewis or Devin Alexander? Don't answer that question. We'll just go on to if Adam's got it ready, actually, we'll discuss this in Belly of the Week segment, which is coming up very, very shortly. Adam's going to spin that shit and get the intro playing right now. Sorry, Alex, sorry.
I ain't no DJ.
Okay, what's the bell?
up, and that's all I've got to say about that.
Well, let's do it right now. We can do it right now, you fucking rat.
Okay, what's the value of the week? Okay, what's the value of the week?
Right, it's back. And I don't know where to start actually. I mean, Friday night was just absolutely comedy gold. And, well, we'll start off with this one that was sent to me from Brian King. And AG Field was asking Eddie Hearn, why are people avoiding Kell Brook? He brings a world title and a huge fan base. Eddie Hearn responded, it's because he is exceptional. The next one goes to Tony Bellew. He says after his fight on Friday night that, you know, he doesn't want to make any excuses for his performance, and then basically gives every excuse under the sun as to why he was complete and utter turgid during his fight, even went so far as to blame his kids. I thought Bellew was the type of guy who took himself away, you know, from family life and stayed in the hotels and stuff like that because he was a complete cunt to live with. Number 3, Pat Russell, for having previously acknowledged that the wooden clapper in rounds 10 and 11 then tells us when he heard it again it sounded like the fucking bell. As I says, I think the guy's got tinnitus in his ears. Joe Gallagher on ringside saying that Paul Smith was unlucky to get cut above the left eye just when he was about to start having good moments in the fight. That's brilliant. Glenn McCrory on the Sky Sports boxing website on Tony Bellew. It was entitled Tame the Tiger, Tony. And it says, McCrory hopes that Bellew can channel his inner intensity. Amir Khan for lying. Now, you know, believe this, surely. Amir Khan doesn't lie, but he does. Aisha, trust me on this one, Henry, because he says here, remember he previously stated that he'd sparred Andre Ward. Well, during a Q&A on Twitter the other night there, he actually admitted that he hadn't sparred Andre Ward. I've only got one word to say about this. David Price, or sorry, 2 words. David Price, that suit. That was fucking awful. I think you took that out of a bin somewhere or something like that. Or maybe, I think he might have walked into Marks and Spencer's with a fucking tinfoil lined bag and just rammed it in the bag and walked out the shop with it. I think that's what he did with that one, trying it on.
Well, Paul Smith's tie.
It's a fucking mess.
Just as bad.
No, I mean, at least like Paul gets browning points for at least that his suit actually was cut and tailored to fit him. Fucking, I think Price got dressed in a power cut or something like that.
I'll defend tall people. It's not easy to buy a suit. I'm as tall as David. One as tall as David Price. And it's not the easiest. You can't go off the rack, and he hasn't been getting big paydays recently, so you can't afford the Paul Smith world title tailor suit.
And what about that Jose Gonzalez fucking rolling about after a legal shot from Diego Magdaleno? He was like a fucking anaconda on about that fucking ring there, wasn't he?
That was terrible.
That was pathetic.
Once
but
a quitter,
anyway,
always a quitter.
I think we've
Puerto Rican.
We've got to actually decide, guys, you know, if these nominations are actually regular title worth holders, because I think it's unanimous, and we need to decide what kind of award we're going to give this man for these comments, because it was just absolutely brilliant. Now, as you know, Dave would probably tell you as well that America's now embraced gay marriage. You know, I don't care what way you want to put it, but I'm not really that fussed in all honesty. People want to shag behind closed doors. I've no problem with a man wants to suck a cock, but just don't do it in front of me. But Devin Alexander took severe criticism for these comments. I thought it's fucking brilliant. I need to try and kind of compose myself here, but it says, Devin Alexander. Fuck's sake. Devin Alexander quoted on Twitter, I couldn't believe it. He says, only a vagina when it is stretched can tighten back up. When your anus gets stretched, you are destroyed. It shows how unnatural it is. Right, Devin, I don't know if you know this by first-hand experience, or maybe your brother's told you about how him being anally invaded in prison or something like that. Maybe he's fat as like a 50p piece now. I'm not too sure, but guys, I need some help here. I need to find out what award we're going to give this guy. Bellew the Week Award, Lifetime Emeritus Champion or something like that.
Well, that quote was so good that his Adam and Eve, Steve was supposed to be with another woman quote didn't even crack the top 5. I mean, I'm going to stay true to myself, and I have gay friends. I just let them know what they're doing. I don't agree.
then he came back the next day and he said, all my gay friends had such a good laugh at my tweet. He's just brilliant the way he's tried to, say about this.
to try and troll. I mean, he ended up deleting that tweet, actually. I'm most fucking surprised, no, honestly.
One of his gay friends just didn't like it.
It's going to be pound for pound number one, though, isn't it?
It was... Do you know what? It was epic because he said it. You know what? He said exactly what he believed, and no one says he can't say what he believes. But what he then can't do is try and justify it, and then say. I mean, first of all, he said, "All my gay fans." Devon Alexander doesn't have any straight fans, let alone gay ones. So that's just a non-starter. And then for him to keep saying, "Well, it makes my name more popular. You're talking about me," and absolutely shocking.
It's just so ironic that the man with the gayest moustache in boxing, he's tweeting something like that out. I just find it hilarious.
When it comes to gays, my belief don't mean nothing. Just believe in gays, and that's it. That's how all think, which is hatred. I love debating. I was on my school debate team.
School debate team, can't even fucking pronounce English properly, fuck's sake.
I mean, Donnie told me that once. He was in the school debate.
I remember him saying that as well.
That was arguing in the forum once. He says, I was on my school debating team, eh? Fucking hell, man.
So what we're going to have, 2 awards this week. We're going to have the Super Champion for Devon Alexander. I mean, that just cannot be beat. So I think we're going to be kind of fair here and try and get a regular title because it is a very, very strong cast this week.
I mean, we can't put the other guys in with Devon. I mean, Devon's got this now down. I mean, it's easy, but I think Joe Gallagher's one is just a clear winner without Devon, to be honest.
Definitely.
We're almost at a stage where we need to retire the Bellew of the Week and give it Devon forever and then change the name to the Devon of the Week. Almost.
Devon's moustache of the week.
I got a nominee for...
You got a nominee? What you got? It's not going to be... For what?
Kell Brook said... This was like when it looked like the Rios. I don't know if it was technically this week. It might have been like slightly last week. I don't remember. But Kell Brooks says when the Rios fight looked like it might be falling through, he's like, I would love if Floyd could step in for September and fight me instead of Rios.
Floyd stepping as a light replacement for Brandon Rios.
Fucking I can see Floyd being TBA at some point, eh? So I think we're agreed that Devon gets a super title. We're agreed with that.
Absolutely.
So congratulations, Devon. So we need to get the regular title. So we've got Eddie Hearn, we've got Bellew, Pat Russell, Joe Gallagher, Glenn McCrory, Amir Khan, and David Price. What were you thinking about that suit, man? Jesus fuck.
I've got a couple of additions actually. Let me just find it.
Kell Brook as well.
Oh yeah, Kell Brook. Eddie Hearn was on Talk Sport earlier, apparently.
Oh, but Anthony Joshua saying he could be better, and then he could be bigger than Mayweather.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. A British star, Anthony Joshua, can be as big as Floyd Mayweather or bigger.
He is bigger. He's 6'6".
And there was something about Kevin Mitchell on Twitter as well. This is the boxer this time. Someone was asking him who he thought would win in a matchup between Callum Smith and Rocky Fielding, and he responded something along the lines of, it's a great fight. It's a fight between a huge power puncher and a technical genius. Who knows will win? And I couldn't figure out which one is supposed to be which in that scenario.
So that's Eddie Hearn getting 2 nominations in.
Oh, that's Kevin Mitchell, that is.
So Kevin Mitchell, so is that the writer?
No, that's the boxer.
Fuck. Adam,
Kevin Mitchell, right? I wouldn't know who they are.
Adam, you got anything, mate? No.
As normal, absolutely not.
I'd also like to add in, a couple of weeks ago, I seem to remember mentioning that Brian King got his knob out in DMs for Dejan's Latakanen.
Who?
Brian King got his knob out.
Oh, fuck, he's done that before, hasn't he? Got a picture of his... Yes. I tell you, I forgot I meant to put this one up a couple of weeks back and I fucking forgot. Anybody remember that name? Matteo Handig. He's a light flyweight boxer from the Philippines, right? And he won an IBF title eliminator. And he actually got it tattooed on his chest. He got it tattooed on his chest. IBF eliminator champion or something like that. He's since been stopped in his last 4 fights since getting that tattoo.
If he won this, he'd have Bellew of the Week tattooed on him.
You can never take that away from him, though. He won that fight.
Yeah,
he's always got that memory.
Kurt, what you got, mate?
No, I've got nothing else now.
Nothing. Paul, you got anything, mate?
No, after Devon, I stopped looking. I stopped listening. There wasn't even anything to talk about.
Tommy and Dave, you got anything, guys?
No, just Kell Brook.
Just Kell Brook, right? Okay.
As I was saying about the knob pictures, basically we showed one to Dejan's Latakanen a few weeks ago. This week we showed a nice picture to Nigel Benn, who was very appreciative of a big erect penis.
He showed his cock to Nigel Benn?
Yeah.
Brave man.
What did Nigel Benn do?
Block him.
Should say that to David.
Greasy
Say
bastard.
it to David Alexander.
I'm surprised if Brian King's got any followers left, actually. Right, so, as we know, Devon Alexander, congratulations, you are the super champion. It looks like you're going to be anointed to probably the lifetime status award of Belly of the Week champions, actually. I mean, you just can't be beat, sir. So, the regular title will either go to either Eddie Hearn, Kevin Mitchell, Tony Bellew, Pat Russell, Ian John Lewis, Joe Gallagher, Glenn McCrory, Amir Khan, David Price, Kell Brook. Fuck me, that's 10 names I just rattled off there. Jesus Christ, man, that's strong competition this week. So,
Or Larry Doggett as well.
Larry Doggett, sorry, Alex. There's just too many names. Alex, give me your pick for this week.
Oh, fucking hell.
Tame the Tiger. Fucking hell.
I quite like Joe Gallagher's one. You know, saying that, oh, it's a shame that Paul Smith got cut, otherwise he would have come back and, you know, beat Andre Ward or whatever. I'm going to go with Gallagher, I think.
Gallagher. Adam, who's getting yours?
I was going to go Gallagher, but I've got a feeling that his comments might have been taken out of context by our esteemed colleagues on here. I've not actually seen the clip or interview. So I'm going to go with Amir Khan because he's a liar.
Amir Khan because he's a liar. Kurt.
Joe Gallagher, the fact that he said that with a straight face, he's lucky Devon was around this week.
Paul.
Well, I was thinking Joe Gallagher, but I think Eddie Hearn's definitely a late entry for saying that Anthony Joshua will be bigger than Floyd Mayweather. I think it's just, we hate the hype, and fucking hell, what a thing to say on national radio.
So it's 2-1-1. Tommy?
Joe Gallagher, mate.
Oh, so that could be Joe Gallagher winning it. And Dave?
I'm just going to put in Jesse Vargas for that absurd celebration.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Well, my vote's not really required, but I'd probably have gave it to David Price just for that fucking suit, man. I mean, Jesus Christ, that is awful. That is awful. I mean, can you imagine him walking? You know, some people, right? See, when you get up at night, or you get ready to go out at night and stuff like that. It doesn't matter if you're good looking or if you're an ugly looking bastard like Dennis Lebedev and that, right? See when you get dressed up and you get your old spice on and your fucking deodorant and you have a shave and stuff like that. It doesn't matter how fucking ugly you are. You get the suit on. You look yourself in the mirror, and you wink at the mirror and you go like that. Yeah, fucking killer. I'm going to grab all the birds and I'm going to shag them senseless. I'm going to drink the place fucking dry. David Price does that sometimes. Just think about this for a second. David Price in that suit probably looks himself in the mirror and says, yep, fucking killer. Fucking terrible, man. That suit is disgraceful. But anyway, Joe Gallagher, sir, congratulations. You are a regular Bellew of the Week Award champion. Congratulations. Right, hope we're running at 1 hour 50 minutes. Now, there's been talk. I'll go to you first, Paul, with this. We'll just chime in with this for the next 10 minutes anyway. Purse bids have been called July 6 for the universally recognised world heavyweight title between Vladimir Klitschko and Tyson Fury. Paul, I would say you're pretty critical of Tyson Fury, actually. I think way you're talking, you want to see him get into a big fight with the likes of Klitschko. Maybe you actually want to see him get beat. But first off, if this goes to purse bids, you've got to be kind of back in the fact that Klitschko's going to win it and probably hold it in Germany.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of them trying to negotiate a deal, I think, was because Frank did have visions of getting it over here. I think there were a couple of options that were available, but they were only real fleeting options. I think that's closed now. A lot of people saying the purse bid scenario puts Tyson Fury in a negative place, but I don't agree because he's only going to get 20% of the share. But when you negotiate with the Klitschko's, 20% is not a bad share, especially as the purse bid will probably be quite high because Vlad has to be careful because there sometimes are third-party promoters that want to get in. Obviously, he's going to want to win it and put it on in Germany, which is the logical place for it to go. There's no reason why the fight should be in the UK. Tyson Fury doesn't bring the huge name that David Haye did, doesn't bring the world title. Not that fight even was in the UK, but he doesn't have any of those things, and Haye still had to travel. So Fury will travel for it. I think K2 will win the bid by a considerable margin. It'd be interesting to see what Warren puts in. I think he has to be seen to be giving it a real go, but I think it's a good move for Tyson to go. The reason why I want the fight to happen, like I say, is because Fury Klitschko is for a real legitimate world title fight. I think Fury may well beat someone like Deontay Wilder, but I want to see him in with Vlad because everyone thinks I have a real hatred of Fury. I don't dislike him at all. I just don't think he's very good. I just think he's a bang average fighter, and he's a bang average heavyweight. And the fact he's got to this position it either shows how bad the state of the heavyweight division is, or God is real, he is right, and it's a miracle. I think he's got absolutely no chance of winning the fight, but he'll get some serious wedge for being part of it. I mean, 20% of several million is a lot of money.
Sorry, Paul, I was laughing there, mate. I just read Kurt's comment about David Price on the Skype chat there, saying that he looked like Rodney Trotter looking at the court.
Paul, you know this purse bid? Is it WBA or WBO? What's the score?
It's WBA.
It's the WBO title, I think, is it not? It's a WBO title fight.
WBA's ordered the purse bid, I think.
Yeah, WBA is the purse. It's mandatory for the WBO. So if Tyson, I read earlier that if Tyson Fury pulls out of the WBA purse bid, then there's something to do with losing the mandatory for the WBO, which doesn't really make sense to me. But yeah, it's for the WBA, is what the July the 6th is about. They have been negotiating with the WBO because that's where Fury's actually in position. But I think a lot of the belt, basically the sanctioning bodies at heavyweight are trying to get this on because 3% of this purse for their sanctioning fees is an awful lot more than they'll get for Klitschko fighting numerous other fighters, isn't it?
It's a lot more than they'll get from any Al Heyman fights. I see Mikey Bay's vacated his title.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, they're giving the belts away, so they don't want to. Well, I understand that. They don't want to be paying their money to these idiot sanctioning bodies.
Wasn't he?
Who?
He was stripped, yeah.
He was stripped, yeah.
Mikey Bay, I thought he vacated it.
Well, he didn't want to fight.
No, he was stripped because he refused to take that fight, and so he did get stripped. But I think it's a big fight. What will be really interesting will be to see where it lands on UK TV, because there's a lot of talk about this being potentially box office. We don't know yet. It's all speculation, but it'll be interesting to see what route they go.
Tommy, you're a big fan of Tyson Fury, mate. How do you see this fight going if it gets made?
I think Tyson can beat him. I think Vladimir's on the slide. Tyson's a lot bigger than him. He moves really. Vladimir isn't going to be able to just lean over and bully and push Tyson around the ring. I think he's got a very good chance of winning the fight.
I think he maybe just blowing that chin and Tyson Fury goes down.
Oh, Dev, listen, Vladimir's obviously he's got incredible power, but I've had it in the back of my mind for a year that Fury could beat him. Just something stealth with that.
Kurt, what do you think, mate?
I could be horribly wrong, but
I mean, first of all, I really like the fight. I mean, Tyson will really, talk a lot of shit in the build-up. It'll get a lot of people interested in it. A lot of the guys who've Vlad faces, they don't really say much in the build-up. Hay was an obvious exception. There'll be a lot of interest in it, and I always prefer Vlad when he fights bigger guys. The short guys, well, short to him, there's a lot more clinching involved, a lot more leaning. But when he's facing guys like Marius Wack, Tony Thompson, I think he's more aggressive. There's more right hands thrown. There's more big punches thrown, and I think Fury's a lot younger than him. And I do agree with Tommy that Vlad is looking like he's on the slide. It's he's 39 years old now, so it's to be expected. But I still like this fight for him. I just don't see how Fury will handle what Vlad dishes out. I mean, when was the last time Fury, or if ever, has he faced a big guy himself? I mean, Vlad has fought. I mean, he's had a long amateur career. He's had over 60 professional fights. He's fought all different styles, big, small, southpaw, fast guys, punchers. Fury, we've never really seen him against a big guy himself, and I just think I would like to see him in with a couple of big guys first, but I think it's a bit too soon for him, to be honest, and I think Vlad wins by knockout.
Kurt forgetting the fight against the dangerous Scott Belshaw, 6'7".
Fury doesn't. The only way you're going to beat Vladimir Klitschko realistically, because there aren't many heavyweights that can contend with him on a boxing level, is to knock him out. Tyson Fury doesn't have punch power. He doesn't have punch power in either hand. I don't think he puts shots together well. If he goes southpaw, like he's been messing about his last few fights, Vlad will just take him out. I can't think of any scenario where I think that he wins. Like I said, you've got to knock Vlad out, and he's just not going to be capable of doing it. And if he does turn southpaw, he could get knocked out in a couple of rounds. I mean, Vlad tends to drag his fights on, but I mean, it's a total mismatch. I really think it's almost as big a mismatch as I thought Fury was, but more so because Fury doesn't even have the size advantage, really. He's only a little bit taller than Vlad. I think he's a couple of inches taller. Vlad's jab will still be in his face all night.
I don't think he's got the power to even remotely hurt Vlad Klitschko. I really don't think so.
No, not at all. And if you haven't got that, what have you got in this fight?
He can smash Vlad, and I would have favored him against Hay. And I've been waiting for this fight to happen a long time. I think
could have had it well before now, though. Fury could have had this fight well before now.
I would have liked to see it before too, and I don't like what's happened with Fury's career lately. Ever since Hay pulled out on him twice, really hurt the momentum of his career. And I would be picking Fury in this fight if it weren't for the fact that I recently saw a picture of him looking like 7 foot tall Gavin Reese.
You talking about 6-pack bellies and that. That guy had a crate for a belly, didn't he? Fuck's sake.
Pulling out the David Hay pulling out of that fight saved Tyson Fury's career. David Hay pulling out of that fight means that Tyson Fury was able to get to this world title shot.
David Hay pulling out of that fight saved David Hay's life. He would have gotten wrecked on the inside. Tyson would have been all over him, uppercuts, smashing him.
You show me any Tyson Fury fight that makes you think he's even remotely content at world level. You tell me a performance he's had. Steve Cunningham, who he got absolutely drilled by, the 6 foot cruiserweight Steve Cunningham, got absolutely drilled by him and then knocked him out with an illegal punch.
It wasn't illegal.
I mean,
it wasn't a illegal punch, fuck's sake.
That's what he would have done to David Hay. But how about Derek Chisora? Derek Chisora went like 7 rounds to 5 with Vitali. Tyson just destroyed him easily. Not even broke a sweat, really.
Well, I will say, so the good news is they've called the purse bids. The fight is going to happen, and it's a good big heavyweight fight. Like I say, it's the right fight to make in the division. Like I said, as one-sided as I know it will be, it's good that it's happening, and that's the main thing really. And Tyson Fury fans, and there's a lot of them, and they do deserve this fight really. They've been following the man for a long time, and through no fault of his own, he's dropped out of all of these big fights, and he deserves the payday of what he lost for the Hay situation. And like I said, I hope it's remotely competitive. I just don't think it will be.
I'm kind of siding with what Paul's saying there. I just don't see how Fury can hang with Klitschko. Experience, far different golfing class.
Look at the little man.
Klitschko could knock him down or even out with a jab. Seriously, I don't know if Fury's going to block him.
See, this fight is going to be what happens. I think it's going to go late. They're going to be leaning which who's going to be the fittest late in the fight. I think Big Tyson's a lot bigger than him. I think he's going to be stronger than him. I think he's going to be the one that's imposing his weight on Vladimir in the fight.
Yeah, give the edge to the younger man.
I think Vladimir could crumble in this fight. If you remember him against that Marius Wack, he looked tired, quite tired against the bigger guy after about 6 or 7 rounds, didn't he?
But he came out to kind of try and smash Wack. I mean, that's the first time I remember. He came out quick.
He threw a lot of punches in that
fight. He came out quick in that fight.
But yeah,
Vlad can't fight on the inside. He cannot. His only move is the tie up. He doesn't throw body shots. He doesn't throw hooks or uppercuts. I mean, very rarely. He can't do it. He can. If Tyson gets inside, it's over.
So let's get the.
But depending on the ref, you don't have to do it most of the time because the ref helps him.
But he's not going to do that against Klitschko. He's not going to be able to do that against Fury, is he? How can he impose his size and his weight on Fury, who's much bigger than him? Fury's just going to lean on top of him and he's got to fucking crush him, isn't he?
So official predictions, guys. I think I don't think we've got anything else to discuss really, and there's no fight schedule next week, so we'll need to put our heads together for next week. I think we're going to be discussing the legendary Knight's Tale between Arguello and Aaron Pryor. But Alex, who do you think wins this fight when it gets made? We've got to mention Oscar, We've got to mention Oscar as well before we go. Sorry, mate, on you go.
Making predictions now on Fury Vlad.
Oh, you want to leave it? I thought, let's go into Oscar. Mind. What's Oscar been saying these last couple of days? What's Oscar been up to? He says he's going to come out of retirement and fight Golovkin.
He wants to fight the winner of Golovkin-Mayweather, doesn't he?
Let's just get it right that fucking Mayweather and Golovkin's never going to happen. Floyd will never take that challenge.
I mean, when Oscar was saying it, at first, obviously, he just thought he's either on the coke again or he's just trying to get some headlines. But apparently, according to his interview with Fat Dan, he's 100% serious, and apparently he's going to be started sparring again just to see how he feels. But apparently he's in great shape. He's the weight's all right, and when he starts sparring, he's going to make a final decision then, and he definitely wants to at least try and see what he can do. But this is a guy who, the last time he was in the ring was absolutely, humiliated basically by Pacquiao, and he, at the end of that fight, told everyone that he didn't have it anymore. 8 years later, what's changed? He doesn't need the money. It's just that, obviously with some fighters, they have to have that they want to make amends and come back. I mean, we saw it with Ricky Hatton. He wasn't happy with the way he went out against Pacquiao. He came back after a few years and it didn't end well for him. And Oscar's, he's going to come back. He's going to obviously want a big fight. He's not just going to come back against, a guy no one's heard of. And it's going to end badly for him as well. And I just hope he changes his mind, doesn't go through with it.
Well, what I saw was, because Floyd was calling Oscar out for a while, and I saw a video of Oscar saying, Floyd, no, I'm happily retired, I'm not coming back. And that was only about a week ago, too. So I don't know if he's changed his mind in, the last few days or what.
He won't fight again. I think that he made the decision. I mean, the Pacquiao fight, there were a lot of reasons why he struggled in that fight, besides the fact that Pacquiao went on to be one of the best fighters of the last 25 years. I think that he could have carried on from then if he really wanted to. He didn't. He's been out the ring for a long time. And what's he going to come back at 154 maybe? I mean, nobody wants to see him fight. I think, like we've said before with certain fighters, you get to the 12-month window, it's difficult to come back after 12 months. It's very difficult to come back after 3 years. Not many fighters have done it. And for the length that he's been out, I wouldn't even know what sort of shape or level he'd be back. He'd be available to fight at. And I don't see the need. He's got a lot of money. He's still got a promotion company that's doing okay, not as strong a position as he had. But I can't see any plus point out of him coming back. And the talk about fighting Floyd, if someone said to me, like, do you want to watch Floyd Oscar 2? I couldn't think of another fight I want to watch less than that. I mean, what would the point be? And the idea of talking him fighting Golovkin is just people that obviously hate. I think Richard Schaefer would be quite keen for De La Hoya to fight Golovkin, but I'm not sure anyone else would be.
Yeah, I mean, that's another shit fight. I don't really want it. I mean, as you say, fucking Mayweather's offered a challenge. Oscar's come back and say he doesn't want the fight. Surely fighting Floyd would be the easier fight than fighting fucking Golovkin. I mean, Golovkin would cave in his ribcage, probably even take his life, and then he's still be a good boy at the end of it,
You're just saying that as if it's a bad thing, though.
I've not really any problem against Oscar, actually, no, honestly. I mean, the guy's got money. He likes to shag. He likes to sniff Billy Whiz or cocaine.
He should fight. He should come back to 147 and fight Devin Alexander, and wear his fishnets and fight Devin. I think that'd be the way to go.
Okay, hell.
Devin wouldn't go near him. He despises
Mosley rematch, BKB.
I see Shane Mosley's son's going into the big knockout boxing as well. I've seen that on Twitter.
He got a win last night.
Yeah,
did they win?
I saw a little gif of him smashing some guy up.
Oh, fuck.
Less than a minute into the fight, big right hand, put him away.
So anything else we discuss this week, guys? Is that us runner a lot?
Tyson beats Vlad.
That's your opinion. We'll wait and see. But anyways, I'd like to thank the panel this week. I'd like to thank the callers. I'd like to thank Adam Smith, Alex Morris, Kurt Ward, Paul Webb, Tommy Allen and David Loback come on the call. I'd like to thank you guys for the Twitter questions. We'll be back next week. As I say, it'll probably be a shorter show and we'll probably be looking at some historical stuff. And our Legendary Nights we'll be discussing will be Alexis Arguello against Aaron Pryor over the 2 fights. I've been your host, Andy Patterson. We'll see you next week. All the best.
Nigel Ben likes dick pics.